And we'll get some more people. Let's get Peter Wu. I see Peter Wu's name up here popping off. What's up, Young LYD? Young LYD. You can turn your microphone on.
Yo, Tariq.
What's up, Young LYD?
Yo, what's going on?
I'm good. What's on your mind?
Yo, I wanted to ask you, so do you think it's a better idea to not vote at all with the next presidential election cycle, or should we just all vote for Trump?
Well, Trump, I don't know who's going to run. They're saying Trump is going to run. I don't know who they're going to bring. I say we don't vote, period. I say we don't vote. Some people said it might be a good strategic move to vote for a Republican. And, that's an option too. But what we're definitely not going to do is vote for no damn Democrat. We're going to do anything you need to do except vote for the Democrats. Whatever option you want to do, make sure it is not for the Democrats. That is suicide at this point. So if you want to vote for Trump, I won't argue with you. If you don't want to vote, I won't argue with you. I'll probably just go that route and just not vote altogether. But definitely, we got to get this thing out of our brains that we have to vote for some damn Democrats, and Biden and all of these people. They have shown us nothing but contempt. Voting for them is suicidal at this point. But thank you for the call, sir. Thank you so much. Peter Wu, you want to hop on? Then I'm going to get Shay. I get Shay after Peter Wu. Peter Wu?
Yo, what's going on, Tariq? How you
I'm
doing?
good, Peter Wu. How are you, sir?
Doing good. So I just have a question. What's the difference between like the Red Mongolian Native Americans and the FBAs?
Okay.
And then also, if FBAs have been in North America for thousands of years, why hasn't their phenotype changed? Like, because like in some parts of the U.S. it gets really cold.
Right.
So that's my question.
Okay. Now, Peter, well, let me ask you. Now, where is your people from? Where are your people from, sir?
Eritrea.
Eritrea. Okay, there you go. Now, foundational Black American, well, Aboriginal people, because foundational Black Americans, that ethnic group was a creation. Okay, let's be very clear. That was a creation, just like many ethnic groups. Ethnic groups start by different groups getting together for whatever reason and having some type of commonality, be it constructive or traumatic, and that usually forms a different ethnic group. We are a combination of the Black Aboriginal people who were already here, mixing in with the African people who were brought over um, for the transatlantic slave trade, and that became the new foundational Black American cultural group that we see. So, as far as phenotype, I mean, we've been mixed so much over the past few centuries. Our phenotypes have changed to a certain degree. And one thing we do notice is that we look different collectively from many continental Africans, because we can kind of look at somebody and tell if they're not FBA. Also, when I go to Africa, they can tell that I'm not from there. They can tell that I'm a foreigner at the drop of a hat. So, um, after centuries, people can start getting different phenotypes and different looks, and you can tell that certain people are not from their geographic region. That makes sense?
Yes, definitely.
There you go.
And then the Red Mongolian
Right.
Native Americans,
Right.
so like who are they and why are they like different looking than FBAs?
Oh, yeah. If you look at, I'll give you an example. There's an old painting that's centuries old called the Wall of Warriors. You can Google that, and that gives you an idea of how some of the Aboriginals look, particularly down in South America and Central America. It's like an old Mayan painting, and it showed lighter skinned Native people, and it showed black skinned Aboriginal people. That gives you a great idea of the different skin tones that were here. Just like in Africa, if you go to Africa, and in South Africa in particular, they have the Sand people that I've seen who are fairly light skinned people who've been there for thousands of years. And they're an Aboriginal tribe there. And they have almost an Asian type of phenotype facially. Their eyes are somewhat slanted. So, in all continents, you have different people with different shades, different facial features, different phenotypes, just like you're Eritrean. Over in East Africa, the phenotypes are different. The faces are slender, more slender. A lot of people have a lot of pronounced foreheads. You can tell if somebody is from East Africa. Just like over here, you could tell people from different regions. A lot of people who were on the Aboriginals who were on the East Coast, many of them had classical African features. Some of the Plains natives, they were more the Mongolian red type. Out here on the West Coast, you had many of those with the so-called Negroid type. Many explorers and many archaeologists and people said that the West Coast Aboriginal people, they look like African tribes. So when you have big continents, you're going to have different groups of people with different phenotypes. That's everywhere. If you go to Asia, there's black tribes of people in Asia right now. Malaysia, Thailand, you can go down in those jungles, some of those remote areas, and you'll see black skinned people who look like African tribes over there. So in any continental area, you're going to see different phenotypes in the people. So that's what it is. It was very diverse. It was diverse before the Europeans came, and it became more diverse after they came. So does that make sense, sir?
Yes, it does.
There you go, my man. Thank you so much, people.
Thank you. You too.
All right. All right. Bringing some clarity here. Let's get Che. Let's get Che in here. Miss Che.
Yeah, how you doing?
Hey Che, how are you, dear?
Great. I just have a question
Yeah.
regarding the FBA thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Like why the name change?
It's a designation. It's really a designation, and us understanding that we are a different ethnic group. We have a different lineage than other people. That's very unique and very exceptional. And we're basically acknowledging our lineage. So that's what that is. That makes sense?
So Black Americans, African Americans no longer the lineage?
No, that term, African American, doesn't work. That term doesn't work at all because it's too broad, and we are not African Americans. Do you understand that? We're not African Americans.
So you really don't believe that you did not descend from slavery?
We are descended from slavery. Of course we are.
That's where the confusion comes at. So what do you mean you're not African Americans?
I am not an African American. Are you African American?
Yeah, I'm black.
Where in Africa did you or your family live?
Well, my ancestry says the Congo, Benin, Togo, Ghana, um, Ireland, British.
That's your 23andMe account.
Hmm.
Culturally, do you remember any
And then
family
when I did my
members?
lineage, I found I think a British man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Do you know that
that's going
most
to the 1700s. But
okay, that's your 23andMe account. Do you know almost everybody on the planet's 23andMe account will say the same thing almost? It will trace back to those same areas. Do you realize that, ma'am?
mm, but then my mom's side traced back to no, because she's Haitian, and her side was pretty correct too.
Ma'am, like
Hmm.
I said, do you know everybody's 23andMe account, their DNA will trace back to those same places? Everybody. So that's kind of a broad net. And since everybody's name or lineage will trace back to those areas, does that make everybody African American?
But like for instance, I took two tests.
Ma'am,
23andMe
ma'am,
traced it back.
ma'am.
All right,
Can you
carry
answer,
on.
ma'am?
Carry on.
I'm not being hostile. I just want to bring
Yeah.
clarity. So, do you think because everybody's DNA will trace back to Africa, would that
Mm.
make everybody African American?
But whose DNA traces back to Africa? Is the
White
Caucasian trace
people,
back to Africa?
yes,
Uh, mm,
white people's DNA traced back to Africa, and they brag about it sometimes, especially when we're talking about getting reparations. You'll have white people who say, well, I should get a check because I did a DNA test and my lineage goes back to Nigeria. I'm 3% Nigerian, so I should get some reparations too because technically I'm African American. White people have said that before, man. And you
I
know
know they
what?
being condescending, they
No,
being a smart ass.
but let me tell you
But
something. Technically, they're right. Technically, they are actually right. That's why the term African American is not a good term to use. And our brother Claude Anderson taught us this because everybody's DNA can trace back to Africa. And if they're in America, they can technically say they're African American. And the logic they can use is, well, you black people, you haven't been in Africa for centuries. Neither has my people. So if you're going to get a check for being African American, I should get a check for being African American. See, you have to understand the legalese that they will try to use. You know, this is why the names and the words have to be precise, Miss Shay. You understand?
I
This is
understand,
about
Mr. Tariq.
this
But
is
you think
about
they can
having.
trace our? You think they can trace our lineage back to where you come from, especially if you're a foundational Black American?
I don't understand your question, ma'am. What do you mean?
If you're a foundational Black American, your paperwork you're traced back to the states. They already know who you are. So anybody who's trying to get mixed in reparations, they're not going to be able to even get claimed reparations.
What? What do you? You lost me, ma'am.
You're saying that anybody can state that they can be African American,
Right.
right? So why did FBA start it
Okay.
regarding reparations? Correct.
No, not just reparations. Okay, let's be very clear. It's not just reparations. We have to understand our cultural lineage in general. And with the term foundational Black American, that's a term that people can't leech off of. It's an exclusionary term, and it's a Trump type term that cannot be remixed. Because, again, African American, a person coming over from Ghana right now can say, hey, I'm African American, and I should get everything that the descendants of slaves got because I'm African American too. The term was introduced to us in 1984 by the white supremacists given to Jesse Jackson, and they put it out there for a reason to make us comparable to immigrant groups. So, whatever black people fought for, we're comparable to immigrants. So, immigrants should get the same thing. This is why, whenever we fight for something, we don't really benefit from it. Immigrants benefit from everything we fight for because we say we're African American, which is comparable to Asian American, which is comparable to Latin American, and so forth and so on. You see, we have to understand legal language. We got to be very strategic about language and words. Am I making sense so far, Miss Shay?
Yeah, you make a little bit sense here, Mr. Tariq. But
Okay. I want to make a lot of sense. I don't want you to be confused at all. I want clarity.
so is this like an internet thing, or is this like it's gonna hit the streets for every Black person to start claiming FBA, or this like where is this gonna go?
It's already hitting the streets, man. It's not an internet thing. Well, things are talked about on the internet, but it's already on the streets, man. We've had conferences. Wasn't about no internet. This is a wave that's going on, and people are recognizing what it is. You sound offended almost by it. Why wouldn't you want to recognize your specific lineage, ma'am?
I'm not offended by anything. I'm just thinking like it's more divisive. I don't really think it's divisive. I think it's I like it. Of course, I like it because like you're American, you're Black, but I think everybody know that who's Black and who's not, and where you come from.
Okay, divisive how? How is it divisive?
It's creating devices in diaspora.
Okay, in order to be divided.
It's like more Black people coming at Black people instead of Black people coming at the white supremacists.
Okay, let's stop.
Right.
Acknowledging your lineage, how is that coming at somebody if I just acknowledge my lineage? How is that coming at someone, ma'am?
When you form this. it seemed like you only attacking other black immigrants.
Ma'am, we're talking about a lineage and you're creating some make believe attack scenario. Who are we? We're not attacking anybody. This is not about anybody. This is about foundational black Americans. This is not about any other group. We're not concerned with other groups like that when it comes to our social and political and cultural significance. Just acknowledging our culture, if that's an attack, is everybody attacking us when they do it? Because if that's an attack, we get attacked all the time, ma'am. All of these other groups attack us daily with their culture. They exclude us from acknowledging or being a part of their culture.
Oh,
So,
trust me, I know. They said we have no culture. I'm always on the internet
right,
arguing regarding that.
right. So, yeah, that's an attack. We're not attacking them because they really have nothing for us to attack. We're just acknowledging our cultural heritage. That's it. Now, other people, they'll hop in our spaces and try to argue and gaslight and center themselves, but that's not us attacking them, even on the internet. And we've done conferences. We did a conference down in Atlanta, huge conference, sold out conference, an FBA conference. Nobody was attacked. In fact, we invited people from the diaspora. This is some real stuff going on here. So nobody's attacked. See, every time, look, we as foundational Black Americans, we're so used to opening up our lane and letting everybody eat off us. When we stop doing it, there's a guilt complex in certain Black people, as if we're being hostile because we're so used to being exploited. Shay, you don't have to be exploited. You don't have to open yourself up so other groups can eat off us. It's okay for us to do something for our own cultural and lineage group, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Okay.
But this has seemed more like political. It's like every time election year come around, the last 40, I say last like 20 years since 9/11 happened. It's like everything has come more political and strategic, and it's always an agenda behind something. I'm just seeing as I hope it is not agenda behind this as well.
This is really about culture more than politicals. Once you get your culture together, the political
We
thing,
have a
everything,
culture. We
this
have a
is what I'm
culture.
saying.
We're Black Americans.
Yes, we do. I know this. And once we acknowledge that, acknowledge what our culture is, because we've been taught that other cultures are something that we've gotten from them, and that's not true. Foundational Black Americans, we are the culture that everyone seems to emulate. This is why people come over here to partake in the culture that we
Because
create.
we're Black Americans, so we're more popular.
Right,
So of course that. But we're
right.
Americans, so America is the number one country, and so anything that comes with that, and especially it was two cultures that form America. I mean, excuse me, well, three: Native Americans, Black, and European. So, and by us was used to being the second minority. We're popular, so and we're American. But now we're no longer, we're the what fourth on the caste system. So I'm just saying, like, is this going to help us out of that, or is just another trendy thing going on?
What do you think it's trendy, Che?
Yeah, seem more trendy.
How so? How so? How is your culture trendy?
The FBA thing seems more trendy. I'm not saying
FBA,
that I'm trendy. There's no way that I'm trendy. I mean, that's what they say about our culture as a whole, that we're just a trendy culture. So, of course, I don't believe that.
okay. Well, how is FBA? Because FBA is the culture. FBA is talking about foundational Black Americans, lineage, and culture. So a culture is not trendy. Foundational Black American is just the name. So how is that trendy, ma'am?
Are we going to call white people foundational white Americans?
I don't give a damn what they call themselves. I'm calling us foundational Black Americans, and that's a term that they can't leech off of, and they can't remix that term because there's only one group that are foundational Black Americans. That's us. Nobody can leech onto that. There's only one group of people who are the foundation of this country. That is foundational Black Americans, right?
So we're gonna try to get our own country, or our own
Shay,
land, our own
don't
space
Shay.
to.
Let me Shay.
I'm just wondering.
Hold
I'm
on,
sorry
Shay.
to be.
Shay.
Okay.
We are the foundation of this country. Is that correct, Shay?
I don't want to erase Native Americans, but I
Okay.
mean the foundation of this. Yeah, when they
Okay.
built it and stole it and created it. Yeah.
Okay, say, which Native Americans are you talking about? Because if you're going to talk about Native Americans contributing,
I don't know. It's like 500 tribes. I don't know.
okay, we got to be right and exact. And out of those 500 tribes, some of those tribes were Black Aboriginal people, right?
Yeah, someone was darker color.
Right. Some of those
Like
people,
for instance, Snoop Dogg mixed with the ones that was in the West Coast.
right? Of course.
Hmm.
So when you talk about the native tribes, you're talking about the Black Aboriginals who ultimately mixed in with the Africans who were brought over. The red Mongolian natives, they didn't really have any input in the building of the United States, if we're going to be very historically correct. Okay?
I was wondering where it was going. Are we going to get half the country? Are we getting land? I mean,
Man,
that's all I wanted. Like, where are
man,
we going with this?
where we're
That's
going is,
all I want to know, and that's all I gotta say. I'll end there.
got it? Okay. Where we're going with this is acknowledging our lineage. That's where we're going. And then everything can go from there. We can do whatever we want to do as long as we acknowledge that lineage first. And then everything else will fall into place. Thank you so much for the call, Shay. Let's get some more people in here. Let's get David in here. David, you can turn your microphone on, sir.
Hey, Tariq. Thanks for taking my question here.
Thank you so much, David. David, where are you from?
I'm in Canada right now.
Okay, Canadian white man who's of French descent, right?
No, actually, mostly Irish and Ukrainian.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So what's on your mind, David?
I have I guess a two-part question. If
Go,
we don't have time for the second part, that's all right.
go ahead.
It's about cancel culture. I was thinking
Hmm.
about this the other day,
Right.
and I came to the conclusion that I don't think that foundational Black Americans um, particularly have the institutional power to be the ones that are canceling people. And so I guess my first question would be,
I
would
agree.
you,
I agree.
yeah, okay, so you agree with that.
Right.
And so then the second part of that question is, why are the people that are in power canceling people then for saying things that could be viewed as or are uh, disrespectful towards foundational Black Americans? Or are they actually canceling people for that reason?
And I'm assuming that you're referring to Joe Rogan, right?
No, actually, I'm not. I was
Oh,
just, because it's in the news and everything, or if in the
oh.
Twitter, people keep talking about cancel culture for months now. So
So the
I
question
just,
is, why do you think people in the corporate structure are canceling people for saying things that are somewhat rude to foundational Black Americans?
yeah, or are rude or are perceived as rude. It's, yeah, either or, right? I'm not referring to Joe Rogan here. I'm
Well,
referring to just the
give me
entire
an
media.
besides Joe Rogan, give me a couple of examples of what you mean.
Oh, well, we could, well, I guess Whoopi Goldberg wouldn't be an example because she didn't say it was about Jews.
Right.
Um, but, I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head.
Uh-huh.
I
Because
can,
white people don't get canceled. That's a myth.
okay,
White people do not get canceled. In a system of white supremacy, white people never get canceled. That is a myth. A lot of white people online will go around talking about how bad cancel culture is. And the ironic thing is systematic white supremacy protects you from being canceled. You don't get canceled. Nobody in the dominant white society gets canceled. Not even Joe Rogan. Speaking of Joe Rogan, he's not, he's the farthest thing from being canceled. So
okay.
the only people who get canceled are Black people. We get canceled. We get taken out and punished.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, maybe the first part, but I think my view, and I just want to get your take on this, has
Mhm.
been that the canceling, quote unquote, canceling is sometimes more about, well, we wanted to get rid of this guy anyway. He was, let's say we couldn't find another reason to fire him, so we're going to fire this person.
And sir,
For,
there's a saying that white people do not get fired; they get transferred. That
okay.
that happens. They only get transferred. They don't really get fired. When white people get so-called fired, like some of these people, a few of the white people who got a couple of strays from the whole Me Too thing, basically their so-called firing or canceling was them getting to resign with a big multi-million dollar severance package, so they get paid to be fired or they get paid to be canceled, which is not really canceling. People who get canceled are people like Bill Cosby or R. Kelly, Whoopi Goldberg, people who get punished for things that they're accused of, which is no, canceling is a form of systematic white supremacy. And the dominant society has to pretend that they're being canceled and then act all aggrieved about the pretend canceling. But white society doesn't really get canceled.
Okay, that's I don't know if I entirely agree with everything you're saying, but I'm not going to argue about it because I'd have to think about it a little bit
Yeah,
more.
because you would have to give an example, sir, and you cannot give one, according to your
Well, no, yeah, not off the top of my head. Like I said, I'd
right.
have to go think
And
about
the
this. Like
fact
I
that
could think of, let's say,
fact and the
Brendan
fact
Ike.
that the fact that you have to do research in order to find an example proves my point.
Well, I mean, there was that girl that was fired from Disney for, like, she was in the Star Wars show, I think it was, The Mandalorian. She got fired because she was a Republican. There was Brendan Ike. This is going way back. Got fired because of his as being the CEO of Firefox because of his views on same-sex marriage.
Okay.
Um, I'm I had another one just off the top of my head that slipped my mind, but those are two examples, and they're both white people.
Right.
Um,
And
and
they
I
did
always
and it probably did something to another white person.
no that like I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
Right.
That's what I'm saying is my sort of thought is, well, I don't think this is actually what they're saying it's about. It's
Okay, because see,
usually about
initially, see, this is the thing. Initially, the narrative you said was, well, they'll get canceled for saying something offensive to a black person or foundational black American. And part of the white supremacist code is to not punish white people based on them aggrieving or harming a black person. That's a strict, unwritten code of white supremacy. This is why, for example, we've just saw in the case with the young man who was killed in Minnesota, the suspected white supremacist cop who shot her, literally got a slap on the wrist, shot him rather. She got a slap on the wrist for killing this man. She murdered this man, and she's going to do less than a year in jail. That's not canceling. That's giving a slap on the wrist. That's giving a pass, and that's how white supremacy works. If you're a white person and you harm a black person, there has to be a international outcry in order for you to be remotely punished. So there's no canceling in that respect. And that's the problem.
okay, I see what you're saying. I think that kind of makes sense based off of the question I had because I was like, well, I mean, I don't think they're doing it for this reason. And I'm like, it doesn't seem to me that like foundational Black Americans have the power really, unless, there's a huge outcry from them to cancel somebody. Um, generally speaking. And so it would make sense yeah, what you're saying does
Right.
kind of answer that question for
And
me. So,
that's the case. That's the problem. Because when people harm us, a lot of times we don't have the power to do anything about it. When a person is white and they harm us, they're protected by the system of white supremacy. And that's what all the protests and all of these things are about. That's what white supremacy is. They can mistreat us and harm us, and we haven't figured out how to produce justice. I don't like to use the term cancel. I just mean produce justice, meaning stopping that person from harming us or punishing that person from harming us, so that the message will be given that anybody else who does it, they will have to suffer punishment as well. Now, we've, to a certain degree, with a lot of the protests and outcries and things that's been going on the grassroots level, we have been able to administer a certain level of punishment. But the damn country has to be going up in flames in order for that to happen. It has to go to such an extreme to make an example and to produce a little piece of justice. And it shouldn't have to be like that. You understand? We shouldn't have to have nationwide uprisings in order to punish race soldiers. That's just not good for everybody. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. And yeah, I think it really the answer you gave is starting to make sense. So
Right.
to summarize, just so I'm like hearing you correctly, so what you're saying is when white people are canceled for, well, what do you think? Let's say if they're canceled for saying something about, or again, quote unquote, canceled for saying something about like gay people or whatever that offends the LGBTQ brigade.
Right, right. And usually even the punishments for that's minimal too. Black people get punished more severely for that, just like with Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, they found an old tweet where he made a joke, and then they kind of spanked him publicly and made him go on an apology tour for some jokes. He's a comedian. The comedy stage is be sacred, and white comedians make gay jokes all the time. They don't do that to them. Tracy Morgan, he made a gay joke. They did the same thing to Tracy Morgan. They ran him through the ringer. Now with Dave Chappelle, he made some gay jokes, so they're trying to run him through the ringer. They do not do that with white comedians. They make gay jokes all the time. So again, the only people who really get canceled or attempted to be canceled are black people. Even with white people doing LGBT jokes, they really don't get canceled. Again, they'll get transferred at worst, but they really don't get.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's interesting. I could probably go on asking you a bunch more questions, but I'm sure other people want to speak.
There you go.
Um,
Thank you so much, David. Let me get some more
yeah,
people on. Okay. We get some more people on here. All right, a lot of people in here. Let's get Rennie. Let's get Rennie, the person with some anime on their page. Let's get Rennie. What's up, Rennie? Turn your microphone on. If you can turn your microphone
Oh,
on, that would
I'm
be.
sorry. Hello, how are you doing today?
Hello, Rennie. How are you, sir?
I am well. I had a bit of a question. So,
Hold on, Rennie. Rennie, hold on, hold on. Now, where you from, Rennie?
I'm from Virginia, actually.
Virginia. You're a white male from Virginia.
No, actually,
Wh-
I'm a black male.
really? Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Black male into anime. Where's your family from, Rennie?
My family's from Alabama and New Jersey.
Are you and your family descendants of slaves in America?
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right. How long have you been into anime, bro?
Quite a while. Probably since my early teens.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Not a lot of foundational black Americans are into anime like that. Interesting. Oh, but go ahead. Go
But
ahead. What's
I
on
had a
your mind?
question, and I recognize it may not be pleasant, but I
Okay.
did want to ask you, I just stumbled upon the space. Essentially, if I am a homosexual black male, what should I do to
Mhm.
avoid being a broken buck? Because I recognize
Oh,
that's not something that's desirable, but it's also
okay.
not
So you're a
something I
white
can
male.
change.
That is a white male. There we go. Okay. You're white male. Okay. I knew black people, especially foundational black Americans. That's why I knew you couldn't have been a foundational black American. They're not in.
No, you're not correct about this, but
They're not.
um,
So let me ask you this. So are you offended because the buck breaking movie exposed a part of your culture, your European
oh,
culture?
one, I'm not white. Two, I'm not offended at
Yes, you.
all. Um,
Yes, you. Sounds like the movie Bug Breaking touched a nerve about your culture.
no. Like I said, it's
Why do you think Bug Breaking and sexual exploitation is such a major part of your culture?
I think you have the wrong impression here. So I'm not really sure what
What
to
what
say about the situation.
what sir, let's calm down. Calm down. Let's talk real. I know a lot of you people in the dominant society, you're not witty enough to get off a good troll response. Your trolling kind of failed because you're not that witty. But let's talk real. Since that failed, at least we can try to salvage the call is to get you to have a real conversation about your culture. Why do you think your culture is so rooted in sodomy and exploitation? Why do you think that is?
Um, it's not my culture, so I'm not really sure how to respond. I guess
Yes, it is
I'll
culture, sir.
excuse myself.
Yes, that
I really don't know what to say other than that you're mistaken.
okay. Okay, Rennie. Thank you so much, sir. And I hope you have a good late night snack with plenty of mayonnaise. Okay, let's get Dr. M in here. And Rennie and people, white supremacists, if you try to troll, you got to be witty. That's the kind of the sad thing about being a suspected white supremacist. You have to depend on a system of white supremacy in order to hold you up because you're just not that creative or witty. You got to be witty a little bit. What's up, Mr. M? Dr. M, can you get on? Turn your microphone on, Dr. M.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Dr. M. Where are you from, sir?
Born in Iran, migrated to the US in 2001.
There you go. So, what's on your mind, sir?
Gosh, I didn't think I would get a chance to speak with you in such a large room, but my question is, do you see a solution to the problems of racism and racial bias that we have, considering where we are today? Like how, let me phrase it differently. I feel like part of it is that part of it just needs to die with the older generations. Do you see any solution that we would be
No,
able?
great, good question, sir. The solution is to replace the system of white supremacy with a system of justice. That is the only solution. We got to replace the system of white supremacy with a system of justice. It's not rocket science, but it's very difficult for people to wrap their minds around that concept. Chris, you want to get on, Chris? I just added Chris as a speaker. Chris, turn your
Yes,
microphone
sir. Yes,
on.
sir.
What's up, brother? How are
Doing
you,
good. How you doing, my
Chris?
man?
I'm good. Where you calling from?
First of all, why'd you have to come at Rennie like that? You had me over here dying for no reason. Why you have to call that man out?
Yeah, yeah, this weak trolling just kind of fell flat. But where you
Jeez.
from, Chris? Where you
I'm
from,
from
brother?
Indianapolis.
My man. What's on your mind tonight, brother?
To be honest with you, brother, I'm trying to figure that out. So I want to talk about cancel culture a little bit. I have a friend of mine that she can't.
Okay, we talked about that. We already talked about cancel culture. So let's try something else. I don't want people to get on trying to figure out their thoughts. All right. All right. This is not 976 lust. This is not a 976 number where you just call up with random scattered thoughts. Kind of be focused if you want to get on. Let's not do that. All right. This is not a late night mail chat where dudes want to call up just to hear other men talk on the phone with them. We don't want to have that. You got to be a little constructive. I'm not here for any type of fantasies and all that. What's your name? Dogalon? Dogalon.
Yeah, yeah. What's going on, Tariq? Man, I've been waiting to talk to you for a while.
My man.
Uh, basically, I didn't really have too much to get on this thing and say, but I just wanted to see like where you was at with like I've been watching your lives or the last couple like weeks and months and stuff like that. But I wanted to see where you was at with like the Kim Potter situation and how like the justice system and the legal system is basically shitting on blacks and like like making it seem like it's really not a problem for us to be getting killed, or
Right.
like it's not really an issue for us to die in America. It's like we worth like 16 months in the legal system. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that and see like what can we do as
I got it. Got the question. Sometimes y'all ask a good question and then you don't know how to close it out. You ask the same question over and over again. I got it. Got it. What do we do about this legal system? The Kim Potter situation. They're sending a message with the Kim Potter situation, even with the Kyle Rittenhouse situation. And they just had Kyle Rittenhouse on Fox News running around talking about he's going to sue people for defaming him, and folks shouldn't be calling him a white supremacist. And he's running around with the white supremacist group, the Proud Boys, throwing up white supremacist hand signals, but he don't want nobody to refer to him as a white supremacist. They are the white supremacists in the courtroom, the media, the judicial system, the education system. Right now, they're tightening up their screws and they're letting their agenda be known that they want to continue white supremacist domination. And we, as non-white people, we have a choice to accept that or not accept that. And let's be very clear, we can stop this stuff at the drop of a hat. If we wanted it stopped, we can make that happen. We know how to stop other black folks from harming us and aggrieving us. We know how to stop that easily. We know how to stop people from harming us. The problem is, black folks, too many don't really want to, because you don't want to be responsible for the aftermath. See, we could have got rid of the system of white supremacy a long time ago, but black people, many black people have been told that you have to depend on white people. And with white people not running things, now you as black people, you got to get up and make everything happen. That's the thing that scares a lot of black people. Us having to stop playing around and start running things. So now, if the white supremacists are out of the picture and not in control, that means, family, no more TikTok videos all day. We can't be on TikTok dancing. You can't be going out with your friends eating crab legs every night gossiping. You can't be at the club twerking. That means we have to run a society. Then the hard work and the boring work is going to be left to the black masses. And that scares a lot of black people, if we're going to be honest. Stopping these white supremacists from harming us, we can do that pretty easily. We can do that. And a lot of black folks realize we can do it. Because in pockets of history, we've done it before. We've backed them off of us. Down in Florida, the Black Seminoles, they backed the U.S. government off of them. They were down there in Florida whooping ass in the 1830s in small numbers. There were a very small number of Black Seminoles putting in major work, got the U.S. government off their ass. We know how to get people up off us. But see, the Black Seminoles, they were ready to live an autonomous lifestyle. They were ready to control their own lives. They were insistent upon controlling their own lives. They were ready to go there to feed themselves, to clothe themselves, to house themselves. See, a lot of black folks, when y'all start thinking in those terms, meaning you're going to have to learn how to run power plants, you're going to have to learn how to run river dams and water systems and sanitation systems. You're going to have to run a society if you want to be in a protective status where people are not harming you. Because if you have to defend yourself, that means you're going to have to feed yourself. You understand? And the feeding thing, I just want to get up every day and go down to the grocery store. I just want to get up every day and go to that job and let white mommy and white daddy do the hard work. And I just go in 8 hours a day and just get my weekends. See, we got to be real about the situation here. We got to be real. But if we really wanted to get stuff nipped in the bud, we can get that shit nipped in the bud. We can stop folks from killing us. We can stop that. Let me tell you something they did in the 70s. I talked about this many, many times. In the 70s and 80s, there was a reason why cops weren't going around killing black folks. White supremacists weren't going around killing black people in the 70s and 80s and even going into the 90s. All of this stuff wasn't going on. Why? Because you had riders making sure that wasn't going to go down. There were black folks putting in work in the 70s. For real, and that's never talked about in history. You had black folks putting in work, making sure if you harm a black person, there was going to be some problems that come with that. And the people in the dominant society, they got the message. That's why we were relatively safe growing up in the 70s and 80s. Let's keep this thing a buck. Let me get some more calls in here. I see somebody has a tag called Asada Taught Me. Y'all better really research Asada and the Black Liberation Army organization she was connected with. There's a reason why people like Asada, even to this day, they're on the most wanted list, all the work they were putting in. Real heavy history. Let's get some people in here. A lot of folks in here. Lot of folks in here. Let's get who's this? Um all right, let's see. A lot of people in here. I want to get some new faces in here because I let's get Johnny Dice. Let me get some new faces in here on the microphone. Johnny Dice. Let's get Johnny Dice in here.
Hey, how you doing today?
What's up, Johnny Dice? How
Good.
are
I
you?
just happened to walk into the space really, and the
Mm-hmm.
topic did intrigue me a little bit because I'm kind of unsure on my background. All
Okay.
right, so
Now
I've
you
heard you ask all the questions, so I'll be upfront and honest. I'm adopted. Uh,
okay?
my father did not talk anything about my adoption whatsoever. It wasn't until my mother until later years. Actually,
Now
wait,
wait, hold on, wait, hold, Johnny, hold on. Now, are you classified as white right now? Are you classified as white? Johnny, turn your microphone on, sir.
I apologize. Can you hear me?
I can
All
hear you.
right.
So are you class?
Yeah, I would say I always check that box.
Okay, there
You
you
know,
go.
so my parents are white. I always check that box. And it wasn't, I mean, I knew I was adopted, but it's not anything I ever concerned myself with. And then later on in my, and I didn't think anything of it. I really didn't. But my birth certificate says I'm born in Mississippi to a Melissa Morris. And I'm an old guy. I'm 50 years old. She's probably long dead. There's no sense in me going through my trying to find her, right? And
Hmm.
then but my mother referred to her as Missy.
As who?
Missy a few times.
Oh, okay.
As my
Okay.
adopted mother is Missy, and it wasn't until later on in my life. So now I'm torn. Right? Do I get the blood test? Do I see where I'm at? And do I tell my kids where they're at? And do I tell my? So I'm really torn, and I'm looking for a little guidance.
Okay. I don't really know what you want to know, but if, get a blood test and find out who your parents are. I really don't know what you want to know, sir, but thank you for the call. It's a little random. Okay. I don't know what you want to know. If you want to get a blood test and find out who's who, get a blood test and find out who's who. Okay. Let's get some more people in here. Let's get down here on the list. Let's get Miss Romano. Let's get Miss Romano in here. Let's get Miss Romano in here. All right.
Hello.
Miss Hello, Miss Romano.
Hi, I've got a question.
Okay, Miss Romano. Wait.
Uh-huh.
Hold on. Now where you from? Are you from the UK?
No, so I know I have a UK accent, but I'm actually American.
Okay. So how do you have a UK accent?
Pardon?
If you are American, why do you have a UK accent?
Because I was sent to school in the UK.
And are you classified as white?
Yes, is this does that mean I can't ask a question?
Why would you not be able to ask a question?
Okay, because I've been like kicked out of spaces before because apparently I
Oh,
wasn't, allowed to be in there. But I've got a
no, just want
hmm
okay. So let's be clear. You're American, but you went to school in the UK.
Yes, yes.
Where is your family lineage from? Where in Europe? Ireland,
Scotland.
Scotland,
Scotland.
Scotland.
Scottish.
Got it. Okay. Now, what's your question, Miss Rowe? Go ahead.
Okay, so I've been in a few spaces, and I just want to know, why are Black people so divided? And like, you guys talk about unity a lot, but the spaces that I've been to, it's just like segregation, hate white people the problem, and then hate each other. So I want to know why. Why is that like going on?
So, why are Black people divided?
Yes, and why are they promoting segregation and division amongst all races?
So, segregation is being promoted by Black people.
Yes, in some of the spaces I've been to, they have been like promoting that. Like,
Okay.
so I want to know why. Obviously, you weren't hosting the
And,
space, but
and I think your voice sounds familiar. You sound like the Latina woman who was in Australia that we talked to. Are
no,
you that person?
no,
You're not a
no, no,
Latina
no.
from Australia?
No, I'm not Australian. Never been to Australia. No.
So why do you think the spaces are segregated online, and these spaces are run by anonymous people, but the neighborhoods in the country, the cities are segregated, right? If we look at the countries, I mean not the countries, but the cities and towns, they're segregated, right?
Yes, but also, I always see a lot of Black people also promoting unity, inclusion. And then when I get
Well,
into
okay, let's
spaces,
stop.
it's
Okay, ma'am, let me
Mhm.
ask, what city in America is there complete unity and inclusion with Black people and white people, where Black people share the power? Can you name one city?
No, I can't.
So that means that there's segregation all over the country, right?
Yes, but in spaces, wouldn't you guys be trying to get rid of that segregation and be unified? Because there's a lot of anti-whiteness, and then there's anti blackness towards each other. Like, I was in another group, and it was like literally, oh, we're different types of Black people, and I just want to know, why is that happening? Like, why isn't it this? I know you're probably going to say, oh, it's kumbaya, but
Not really, ma'am. I'm just trying to understand why you would
Mhm.
prioritize just people talking in a space, except, but you're not talking about the actual physical segregation that's orchestrated and administrated by the white supremacists. They control real segregation in real life, not just on no Twitter space. So wouldn't that be more of an issue that should be prioritized? White supremacist segregation of all people, right?
okay, but like, schools are no longer segregated. Black people can access private education, they can go to top schools, they can do all of that.
No, they can't. Not in large
So you're
numbers.
saying, Black people can't send their children to private schools?
Ma'am, private schools cost a lot of money sometimes.
Okay, but they can access good education. Like, you're not
Ma'am,
bound to bad education. Like, did you go to college? I'm not quite sure
ma'am, ma'am,
about your
ma'am.
background.
Are you saying that Black people have access to equal education as white people?
Yes, I really truly believe that.
Ma'am,
Hmm.
Black people, when you live in a certain tax bracket based on your economic status, certain funds are allocated based on your tax status. And certain schools get more educational resources. Black schools normally get less resources. Why do you think that is? And this is documented, man. We don't get equal resources when it comes to educational institutions. This is very well documented.
No, but my point is, Black people are able to access good schools. They're able to, you're not bound to just being
No, you're not.
in
If
a,
you don't have the economics, you're not a. That's a problem, man.
okay, but
That's
some
what
have
the
been raised in extreme poverty and they still make it. There's Oprah Winfrey. Like I read about her background. Like,
Right.
so you guys can make it out. You're not bound by your.
So, ma'am, why should we have to be the exception? And why do we have to overcome obstacles in order to make it? Whereas people in the dominant white society, they can just go on and do their thing, and there's a lane to help them. There are no obstacles for them.
Well,
Why do
that's
we?
not
Why do we have to overcome systematic obstacles based on race?
okay. But do you know also in the white race, there's also that going on. Like
There
there's
are no,
certain people
there
from
are no
certain.
systematic obstacles based on race for white people. There's absolutely no hindrances for
You
them.
would be surprised. Like Irish people they get it the most. Irish people. So you would be surprised.
What?
Polish people.
How so, man? What are you talking about?
Okay, you do know like those books on how the Irish became white, how the Italians became white, all of that stuff, right?
Uh huh.
hmm So are you saying that they get it better than a black person amongst white people?
All of
Is that
them
what you're saying?
are considered white, ma'am. Right? They're
Okay,
considered white. They're
but
considered white.
it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. If your name is a specific type of name, a Polish name, an Eastern European name, yes, you're white, but you're also discriminated against in certain
And
white communities.
this is why white people from Eastern Europe often change their name. Voila, problem solved. White people who come over here in order to avoid discrimination based on their name, all they did was change their name. Half the white people in America, they changed their name the minute they got here. Voila, problem solved. That's not an obstacle. Black folks, we don't have the luxury of changing our name.
So are you saying white people are the problem here
I'm
as to why black people? But
I'm
to be
saying
honest, I've
that
seen a lot of successful black people.
I'm successful financially. That don't mean anything. I'm still a victim of white supremacy. White supremacy is the problem, ma'am, not white people. White supremacy. Would you agree or not?
Yes, I agree. I agree. White supremacy is a problem.
Right. So, ma'am, how come you're not helping us replace the system of white supremacy with the system of
I
justice?
have protested Black Lives
Oh,
Matter with you
God,
guys. I have. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Lord. Protesting Black Lives Matter. What did you protest? What exactly did you protest?
Against police brutality against black people?
Do you believe that the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict was a just verdict?
No, I don't.
Got it. How have you protested against that as a white person?
However, I saw. Okay, if we're talking about Carl Rittenhouse,
Just in
right?
just in general, because standing out there holding a sign with
Okay,
us.
but he murdered a convicted pedophile and a woman
Oh,
beater.
okay. So you
That guy had raped two young boys.
okay, and
I
should
think
Kyle,
it was two young boys, but I remember he
okay.
had a rap sheet. Yeah.
So you're saying that Kyle was justified in killing them,
No, I'm saying again, that was white on white crime. And
but why did
with
you
that
bring up?
situation, they were running towards him.
So you are
He
saying,
was,
so you are saying that Kyle is justified, right?
well, I'm saying it was self-defense. However, I truly believe if it was a black person, I'm not delusional. I know if it was a black person, the verdict wouldn't have been the same.
But
I
you
know that.
but you are justifying. You just said it's self-defense, so you are justifying the Kyle Rittenhouse decision, right?
No, okay.
Man,
So,
cannot
yes, it was
have it both ways.
self-defense.
You can't
hmm
have it. You can't say you're not going to justify it and then say it was self-defense. By saying self-defense, that means it's justified, ma'am.
Okay, so yeah, I guess it was
So why are you
justified.
being deceptive, ma'am? Because I knew. That
No, I'm not being deceptive. The way I see it as it was self-defense. However, if it was a black person who had done that, I'm not delusional. I know that they would not have been acquitted of murder. They would
right,
have been, so I know.
right,
So I'm 50-50 with it. However,
mm-hmm,
yes, it was self-defense, but however, the verdict,
right,
yeah, is a representation
uh,
of
uh-huh.
mhm.
So that's why people
I'm
stand.
not racist. Like
Oh, okay. Yeah, you standing out protesting with us, but when it comes to these courtrooms, you would have sat there and acquitted Kyle Rittenhouse too. That
no, actually, I
yeah, you
wouldn't have.
ma'am, you just said it was self-defense and
Yes, but I
he
would have known
killed
that
a
if it was a
pedophile.
black person sat in my courtroom,
Ma'am,
it would have gone the other way.
you're being deceptive.
No, I'm not. That's
Is
what I'm
which
saying. Like,
is a tool that many white supremacists use. They use deception and they'll take both sides of an argument, which is a form of deception, ma'am.
no, I'm not a white supremacist. That's
Not
absolutely
saying you
offensive.
are, but some would suspect you could be. Not saying you are because I don't.
Okay, so can I ask you, if you're white and you're a Republican, do you consider them to be white supremacists?
I
Because
do.
they're Republicans
No, I do
and
not.
white.
No, I do.
Okay.
No, I do not. Because let me tell you something. Many foundational Black Americans, we're more conservative than anybody. I'm very conservative. I'm not a Republican, but I have conservative values, like many foundational Black Americans, because we've been here longer than any other group. So a lot of things we're very conservative about. So just because a person is I would say conservative, a Republican, that can go either way. I don't know what a Republican is, but a person with conservative values who's white, they're not necessarily a white supremacist. And all white people are not white supremacists. But the people who believe in white supremacy are the most powerful people. And a white supremacist is not a person running around in a Klan robe. A white supremacist is a person who goes up in the courtroom and watches Kyle Rittenhouse fake cry and watches a judge act as a defense for Kyle Rittenhouse and throw the judicial process in the toilet, and they'll sit there and acquit that man. That's somebody who's suspected of being a white supremacist.
Okay, so if he was black, if Carl was black and he
Uh,
was acquitted,
ma'am, the whataboutisms are irrelevant. There is no case in history of this country where a judge sat there and did all of that for a black person, not in even remotely. A murder suspect, there has never ever been a case where a judge sat up here and told the jury, you can't see anything about this person's background. You can't see the connections to other extremist groups that this person was taking pictures with beforehand and after. You can't look at video
okay,
of the
that's
person
another thing.
you in a
That
mail.
sign was okay. I know you guys say, okay,
Oh,
that's a white
don't do
supremacist
don't
sign.
don't say it. Please don't say that. Go ahead.
No,
Don't.
but as you know, that's the okay sign, right?
Oh God, stop it.
I don't know why it's been linked all the time to white supremacy because it's like when you say okay, do you not use that sign?
Why do white supremacist groups want to say okay randomly?
Okay, but white supremacy groups don't even make sense. I mean, the Proud Boys is the leader is an Afro Latino. You know this,
He
right? Who describes himself as black.
Enrique, I pulled up his jail record. He lists himself as a Caucasian. He lists himself as
In
white,
an
Cuban.
interview that he had,
Ma'am, I don't care.
he asked a white kid on a campus. He said, "What color do you think I am?" The white kid said, "You're white." He laughed in his face and said, "No, I'm black. I'm Afro Latino." So the
What,
words came out of his mouth.
ma'am, I've seen his record, what he puts down on paper. You think people won't lie? He classifies himself as white, and he's a person who's dark skinned, the dark skinned Cuban, and still classifies himself as white. That means he has the mentality of the white supremacist. And there's a reason why they made him a token of the Proud Boys so they can hide behind his brown skin to say, hey, look, we're not a white supremacist group. Look at this brown skinned guy who's our quote unquote leader. And he's not anybody's leader. In fact, this guy is connected with the FBI. He's an asset for the FBI, ma'am. This type of deception that you're trying to spew further proves our point,
It's
ma'am.
not deception. It came out of the guy's mouth several occasions. That's how he's described himself.
Lies come out of people's mouths all the time, ma'am. Just like deception is coming out of your mouth, ma'am, by telling us that that's an okay symbol and not a white supremacist hand sign.
It's actually, that's what I'm saying. It actually is. If you look at what that symbol is, that's how you use, like you say, okay.
And
So
you can use hand signals for different things. You do know that, right?
yeah, so if the one day white supremacists decide to use the peace symbol as a symbol, are you going to say anyone who uses that symbol is a white
So, ma'am,
supremacist now?
when they went out there to Charlottesville, all of those white supremacist groups throwing up the same hand signal, are you
Yeah,
saying
but white supremacists are slow. They're
are
really
you
slow.
saying, ma'am, that all of them were just saying okay to each other? Is that what you're saying?
White supremacists are slow people
I didn't ask you what
who
they
are clearly
were,
adopting symbols that have nothing to do with them.
but
And unfortunately,
that
it's just mhm.
but you give symbol significance. That's what you do. And they gave those symbols or that particular symbol a certain significance. This is why they flash it at each other so they can try to quote unquote hide in plain sight. That's the purpose of a hand signal so that you can communicate a message to another person to let them know that you're on code with them. And by you trying to sit here and tell us that they're just coincidentally flashing the OK signal, that sounds like you're on code with them. Turn your microphone on, ma'am.
Oh, it said you muted me. It
Right.
said you've been muted. But no, I'm not on code with them.
It
I've used the
like,
OK symbol. Uh-huh.
sounds like you're on the code with those guys. You're making it.
Not at all. Not at all. I'm against white supremacy. Like I
It
said,
really.
I'm very. Mhm.
It doesn't sound like it, ma'am.
I am against white. So it doesn't sound like it because I've used the OK symbol in the context of it being okay. Like to signal, yes, that's okay.
No, because you're making excuses for known white supremacists who use that signal to
Yeah, but
convey.
white supremacists use, they even eat fried chicken. Like white supremacists are just very, like, they don't make sense.
They do
That's
make
what I'm saying.
them. They do make sense because the white supremacists dominate and control our society.
A lot of the white supremacists and white nationalists are like extremely poor. They're
Man,
truckers.
ma'am,
They
ma'am,
live in they live
ma'am.
in the worst parts.
No, they
Like
don't. No, they don't. You're talking
a
about.
lot of them do. A lot
Man,
of them do, and that's why they
no,
hate.
they
That's why
don't,
they have hate.
ma'am.
Okay, so would you describe President Biden?
You're talking about white extremist groups. But go ahead. What about Biden? What about Biden? Turn your microphone on.
So, would you describe him as a white supremacist?
Yes, 100.
Why?
Because of his views and because of his anti-black actions that he has practiced all of his political career. That's why I would consider him a white supremacist or a suspected white supremacist. Biden is an extremely anti-black racist. 100%. That's why I tell black people you should have never supported Joe Biden. Joe
So
Biden,
they should have supported Trump.
yes, Joe Biden is worse than Trump as far as racism. Yep, I'm saying that publicly. Joe Biden is worse than Trump as far as being an anti black racist because at least Trump never put together any policies that harm black people collectively. Biden has. So that makes Biden worse. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, so let me just gather my thoughts here. You're saying Biden is worse than Trump
Yes, he is.
for black people, and that they shouldn't have voted Biden. They should have voted for Trump.
Or not voted at all. They should have either voted for Trump, not voted at all, or voted for the Green Party, voted for a leprechaun, whoever. They should not have voted for Biden at all. And Biden has done nothing but disrespect black people after black people put him in office.
But he also has a black vice president, Kamala Harris.
Black where?
She's black.
How?
She's described herself as black.
She's Jamaican. And what does that mean? She's not a foundational black American. So what does that mean for us?
What is a foundational black American? I'm confused.
A foundational black American is a black person who comes from the lineage of black people who founded this country, who were the foundation of America, who were descendant of slaves in America. Kamala Harris is not that. She comes from an immigrant background. Foundation black Americans are not immigrants. So what does she have to do with us?
This is hurting my head. So you're saying she doesn't represent you because she's not from America?
She's not a foundational black American. And she told us that she's not going to do anything for black people. She already told us that. So what does she have to do with us? What does you said she's black. Okay, what does her blackness mean for foundational black Americans?
Well, I'm not a foundational black American, so I don't know what it means for you guys.
Okay, so
But
why did you bring up she was black? Why did you bring that up?
because Biden's not racist.
Well, he convinced you, but he hasn't convinced me, and I'm the person that he needs to convince, and I'm not convinced yet, ma'am. So I respect that you've been convinced, so respect the fact that I've not been convinced.
Of course, I respect your opinion. I respect everyone's entitled to their own opinions.
So whatever he did to tell you, and as you said, you're not a black person, so you have the luxury of believing that he's not a flaming anti-black racist because it doesn't affect you. But his policies affect me. So I'm going to need a little more convincing. Okay? That makes
Okay.
sense?
So for the next election, you're essentially promoting that black foundational Americans do not go and vote if Trump runs again. So if it's Trump versus Biden is what you're promoting.
I just don't want nobody voting for Biden, period. We shouldn't vote for Biden at all. We shouldn't vote for Biden whatsoever. Or the Democrats, for that matter. They've done nothing but disrespect us and harm us, so we shouldn't vote for them. Why should black people, a foundation of black Americans, why should we vote for the Democrats at this point?
This is just hurting my head. Like
Why does it the fact that logical questions like this is hurting your head, that shows what the problem is, because these are simple common sense questions, ma'am. Why should foundational black Americans vote or even support the Democrats? Give us one good reason why.
we are for you. The Democrats are for you.
Really?
Yes, we are. Like, this is crazy. You're saying Trump is for you. Trump does not.
Okay, listen, let me play something very quickly. This is Kamala Harris, in her own words, talking about what she's going to do for black people.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
Okay, so are you saying we should support them and that? Why should we support that, ma'am?
Because she's for unity. She said only. She said the word only. So that means she doesn't want to exclude us. She doesn't want to exclude her own people. She wants us both to come together.
But they've put together policies for Afghan refugees. They did something only for them. They gave them resources. How is that unity, ma'am?
So you're saying that they shouldn't have helped people dying and being blown up in Afghanistan, is what you're saying?
So you're saying that they shouldn't help foundational Black Americans who built this country, who's getting harmed by racial policies, who's getting killed by police every day right on this soil. Is that what you're saying?
No, of course they should. Of course they should. But my question, you can't
But
answer a question with a question.
yes,
I'm
yes, I can.
asking,
Yes, I
I'm
can. Yes, I can. Yes, you should help the people who put you in office first. You don't help non-citizens with my tax dollars. Do you understand? We're suffering here on this soil, and our tax dollars are being used to help people who are not even citizens. So are you saying that's okay?
well, in the case of Afghanistan, yes. I thought that was they
Okay.
they're
And,
not in the position to they were okay. This
oh,
is just hurting my head. My head is hurting me right now.
your head
I
shouldn't
have been
hurt.
protesting for Black people. You called like
We
I
don't
just
need the,
feel
we don't need no, 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 ma'am. See, that's the problem. We don't need you doing symbolic gestures and for us and tangible gestures for other people. Why don't you go protest for the Afghanistans and give us the money? How about that? Because we need it. And it's our money because we pay taxes. Protest for the Afghanistans and then give us the money. Right?
like you literally sound like Donald Trump.
Ma'am, that's a deflection.
Like this is just
So black people wanting tangibles sounds like Donald Trump?
no, no. I'm
What
just
are you talking
saying you're
about?
saying go and protest for people of Afghanistan, right? And protest it for them to give you money.
Yeah. Yes.
You're able to work. You're not going outside and being blown up. You're not
Yes, we are.
starving.
Yes,
Women can get,
yes, we are. Our black children are being killed by race soldiers regularly. We keep having protests all around the country of black people getting killed in their homes. Breonna Taylor, black people are getting blown away. They've waged war on black people in this country. Black people are getting killed in their homes. Children are getting killed on the streets. They're lying, talking about they thought they had a taser. Every other week, some black person is, unarmed black person is getting unjustly killed. They're waging war on us here. We need tangibles for that. We have, in my city, we have homeless black people because of economic deprivation based on race. Black people out here starving and struggling. I want them to get help, ma'am. I want my dollars to go to them to help them. I don't want your picket sign and your protest, ma'am. Shouldn't they get help? The same kind of help that you give to non citizens, ma'am?
of course they should, but you can't compare the two. Like
Yes, we can.
Afghanistan has no freedom.
That's not
The
my
Taliban.
um
Okay, so you describe the US
that's
as being a dictatorship?
that
Do you
Afghanistan
feel
is
like
not,
that?
that's not my problem. Why is Afghanistan my problem?
Because you're a human being. It's you're supposed to care.
So, are you a human being and do you care about the livelihood of black people?
I care about everyone.
But what about black people, man? We're human beings.
I care about Black people too. I
Then
care
why
about
don't you
Indian
do
people.
something to fix the anti black deprivation and hatred if you're such a human being, ma'am?
I do by not I don't contribute to racist thoughts. I don't contribute
Ma'am,
to I help Black people
you
in
wanna
every
you
way I
wanna
can.
protest. We don't need protests. Black people don't need you walking around with a picket sign. We need tangibles. Black people need tangibles, ma'am. And you're obviously somebody's connected with the Democratic Party. It sounds like you're obviously connected with them. So you and
No,
the
I'm
Democrat,
not for Democrats. I'm not for Republicans.
ma'am, you just admitted earlier you were a Democrat. You said us Democrats. So you've already admitted it, ma'am. Okay.
No, not in that way. I believe in so I will never be a Republican, never, never, never.
But ma'am, you've already said us Democrats. So you're somebody connected with the Democratic Party. You've already admitted it, ma'am. So let's.
The Democratic Party is way better than the Republicans. Like, and I'm just very like, wow. My head hurts. I mean, you just said that you support
Doesn't hurt.
Trump. Yes, you've made my head hurt.
Suffering based on race, that hurts even worse. And what hurts worse is supporting a party who neglects you and tells you they're not going to do anything for you. And you're sitting here trying to justify that. And you're contradicting yourself
But
left.
what have the Republicans done for you? What have they done for you? They
What
support
what have
everything against.
what have we done for the Republicans? We don't vote for them. We haven't supported the Republicans for the last 50 something years. We've been supporting the damn Democrats for over 50 years. And what have we gotten for that?
You're making my head hurt with this conversation. I'm
These are simple questions. When you'll come to black people trying to get us to vote for the Democrats, why?
so
And
what can
if your only
okay,
answer,
so
this whole thing is, well, they're not Trump. That ain't good enough. Using Trump as the antithesis, that's just not going to work. That's not good
Trump
enough.
is a racist. Why can't you
So
see
is
that?
Biden, ma'am. So is Biden. What are you talking about? So when you have to choose between two races, what do you do? What do you
This
do, ma'am, if you have to choose between two races? What's the best option?
what do you mean? My head what do
Okay.
you mean? You're
Here's
saying
the
that I shouldn't
thing.
protest
Okay, because ma'am, now you've run out of deception, so I'll let her go. This woman was another Democratic shill. Black family, that's the Democrat Party right there. This is why we should let the Democrats crash and burn. Let them crash and burn. We should have stopped messing with them a long time ago. The disrespect. And by the way, I want y'all to notice this woman is a Democrat, but she agreed with that Kyle Rittenhouse nonsense. I want to show you how they have these white supremacist views and they try to pretend to be liberal. And this was a lesson. I wanted y'all to learn from this. I've told black people about people, these so called liberals who come out there protesting with you. Don't be fooled by that. I have repeatedly told black people, do not be fooled by these so called liberals who go out there protesting with you, because they will go right back into a courtroom and acquit a suspected white supremacist. They'll go right into a courtroom and be on code, acquit a white supremacist, and then go back out there protesting with you. Don't ever be fooled by some damn liberal protester. It costs nothing for them to protest with you. This is why all these gazillion people from the dominant society, they're out there at those protests, but you can never get 12 of them in a damn jury for some reason. You can get 15,000 of them to show up at a damn protest, but you can't get 12 of them in a damn courtroom. You understand? Or on the bench. Don't be fooled. Who's this person? Alec? Alec person, whatever your name is. Alec, hop on.
Hello,
I'm trying to
can you hear
get
me?
Alec on. I can hear you, Alec.
Hey,
How are
Tariq,
you,
I'm
buddy?
good. I just hopped into this space and heard you talk for a bit. I wanted to hear your thoughts on a few questions I had because, I feel like you're extremely well studied in the area of racial relations. The first question is, what are your thoughts on reverse racism? Do you believe that non-white races can be racist towards white people, even though there's no racial system against white people? Is it just
Right.
being prejudice?
Yeah. Great question. Before I answer that, now, where are you from,
I'm from
Alec?
Los Angeles.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Cool. Where did your family immigrate from?
Iran.
Iran.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So, yeah, reverse racism, no such thing. Racism is a system. Racism is a system. That's the key. And that's the thing that makes it a problem.
Yeah.
It's systematic and it's backed up militarily by force. That's what makes it a problem. Black people don't have that. The extent of black racism towards white people is name calling. That's it.
Mm.
Black people may call white people a certain name, and then they'll try to, the dominant society will try to blow that up bigger than what it is to say, oh, look, reverse racism. The only thing black people can do is name call. White people are protected from reverse racism. There's no such thing because it has to be systematic in order for it to be something that's a detriment.
Yeah, and the definition of being racist or racism is believing that your own race is superior.
And
So,
having the power to back it up.
yeah.
That's the part they leave out.
Uh-huh.
Having power to back it up. And the average white person, they can be racist because they have a system to back it up. That's why we see these Karen videos. When we see these Karens running up on black people talking crazy, just understand that Karen has an army to back her up. That's why you see nothing happen to those women. This is why you see like just dozens and dozens of videos of white women harassing black people, spewing racial epithets, and absolutely nothing happens to them. But black people, if they say the word Asian wrong, they're in handcuffs and they're getting hit with federal charges.
Yeah.
That's racism right there. You
Yeah.
see, it's the system.
Absolutely.
There
The
you
other question
go
I
ahead.
had, I wanted to ask you. So I told you I was Persian. I want to ask: are Middle Easterners white? So I'm Persian and Yemeni, and on government forms, I never felt represented because there's Caucasian, there's I think it's Black Caucasian, or is it? Yeah, I think it's Black Caucasian, Native Islander, some other stuff, but
Yeah.
there's no for Middle Eastern people. I was just wondering your thoughts on that.
Yeah, when y'all get over here, you're classified as white, and then, you guys are very well aware of that. And you're from Iran. Iran means land of the Aryans, so
Yeah.
yeah, all that Aryan ideology is heavy over there. So Iranians, many of them, they feel a camaraderie with the white supremacists.
Mm.
And a lot of them, when they come here, they go out of their way to get rid of the Negroid strain that's in the Middle East. Because in order to be a so-called Persian or an Arab, you have to have a strain of black blood because of your proximity to Africa. Because at one point, all of those so-called Middle Eastern nations were just African satellites. And the term Middle East is a term that a military guy came up with, a U.S. military guy came up with in the 1800s. So that's a relatively new term. All of that stuff was basically Eastern Africa to a certain degree. But a lot of Persians, especially from Iran, when they come here, a lot of the women, they'll start bleaching that hair. They'll start getting nose jobs.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll start getting them accents. They'll get voice and vocal and dialect lessons to get rid of those thick accents. So they'll start blending in with white society. So you're definitely classified as white when you get here. And
Cool.
there a lot of the skin bleaching, because I've been through many parts of the Middle East and I've seen skin bleaching
Yeah.
and ads all over the place. So
Hmm. And then on the other hand, I know like melanin is the most expensive thing. Some people do melanin injections. Is that
yeah,
real?
yeah, yeah. There's especially a lot of bodybuilders over there in Europe.
Yeah.
There's something called melanotan.
Huh?
Yeah, they inject that melanin, and also it increases your sexual prowess too. A lot of folks don't know that.
There we go. Okay.
It's real interesting stuff.
Huh,
But
interesting. Well, thank you so much, Tariq. I appreciate it. I didn't really know much about you before, but now I dropped you a follow. I'm gonna be watching your films, and I think you have some books, so I'm gonna read up on those.
no doubt, and you're into the NFT stuff, right?
Yeah, actually I am. Yeah.
All right, well, we got to
I,
chop it up, man. We got
yep.
to
My
chop it.
profile picture is I was on Phineas and Ferb. I was one of the characters, so
Oh,
it's not an NFT. It's just my character from Phineas and Ferb.
oh, okay, cool, cool.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, if you need real estate in Nashville, I'm also an agent, so hit
No,
me up.
my man. Thank you so much. Real talk. All right, interesting conversations here. Interesting conversations. Raise your hand if y'all want to get on. Let me see if you want to get on. Hop on. Let's see who we got here. I done said I ain't gonna be on here too long. And how long have I been on already? Because sometimes the conversations get real interesting, and then I do end up on here for a minute. All right, now who is this guy here? Who is this guy? Chase. Let's get Chase Samuel on here. Let's get Mr. Chase Samuel here.
Hi. How you doing?
Hi, Mr. Chase Samuel.
I'm
How
all
are you?
right. I just wanted to give some history about for that girl that had a headache. After
Yeah.
after World War II, it was the Democratic Party that would chop up neighborhoods and put all the black people in the same neighborhoods. And it was the Democratic Party that segregated schools in the South. All those governors were Democrats.
Yeah.
And John F. Kennedy wouldn't do anything about it. The United States didn't desegregate until after he got assassinated. So, I
Yeah.
mean, for the beginning of the country, the Democrats were not on the sides of black people, and I'm not saying that the Republicans are great either, but
Right.
all those
Right.
red line neighborhoods, Chicago, Los Angeles, Boston, you name them, all the black people got dumped in the worst parts of town and couldn't even buy a house in any other part of town because the Democrats would stop them.
Right. Yes, indeed.
Right. I
All
just
right.
wanted to say that, just a little history lesson. I teach history, so.
Oh, good. There you go. Thank you so much. So yeah. A lot of times I don't try to get too much into the Democrat Republican thing because the Republicans are just as bad. But I don't like for the Democrats to try to put all the racism on the Republicans. See, black folks, we got to stop falling for that, and that's to not that we're not going to excuse the racism of the Republicans. Let's be very clear. The right wing racists, I'm going to always be on their bumper. But what they will not do, we don't let them, and the Democrats are good at this. They love to sit up and point the finger at about how racist the Republicans are. The only time, and let me tell you something, even in the liberal media, the only time they'll talk about somebody being racist is if they can point the finger at the Republicans. They don't talk about the left wing racists who are the worst. Just like with Ed Buck, that little racist Ed Buck who was harming all of those black LGBT men in his home. They put the cape on for Ed Buck. They were very quiet about Ed Buck. People like that harming black folks, but he was a Democratic donor, and they never framed him as an anti-black racist, which he was, because we talked to some people who knew some of the victims, and there were some brothers in the LGBT community out here in Los Angeles, and I've interviewed them before. Ed Buck is known in those circles. They knew he was the crazy white man, the real freaky white man who you were not supposed to go to his spot. Ed Buck was known around those circles, and they knew he was racist, but they don't point the finger of racism towards people like that because he's left wing. So we don't let them sit up and talk about we should vote for the Democrats because the Republicans are so racist. No, we're not going to let them play that game. Biden is just as racist and worse. And my guy who called up, he was talking about JFK. And look, Malcolm X would call out JFK all the time, John F. Kennedy. Yeah, he wasn't no big friend of black society. They get out there and, do some symbolic gestures, but oftentimes the open white supremacists or the people who spew open anti-black racism, sometimes you can get them to get policies together, like Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson, a lot of stuff got done under Lyndon B. Johnson, and they had him on tape, on them J. Edgar Hoover tapes, spewing nigga all the time. He's using the N-word left and right. But when it came to policy, he got some policies popping. Yeah. Because my thing is, I'm not about to have a contest to see which races like me, because that's what they want us to do. They put two races together, and then we have to sit here and decide who's the more racist. Let's damn that. Okay, let's establish both of you are racist. Okay, I'm dealing with two anti-black races. Now, which one of you races are going to put together a policy that's going to help me? I'm stuck with two races. This is how we have to look at it, family. I'm stuck with two races standing in front of me. All right. Y'all gave me some shitty choices here. So, which one of you races will put together a policy that's going to help me? Or if you don't put together a policy that's going to help me, which one of you putting together a policy that's going to hurt me? And see, that's where we are with Biden and Trump. Now, Trump didn't put together a policy that hurt black people. Now, Trump didn't do anything for black people, despite them running around talking about all this stuff they did for black people. Let's be real. Trump didn't do shit for black people. Nothing. They ran around lying, but Trump didn't do anything to harm black people. Trump did not put together any policies that harm black people as a group. There were some inadvertent advantages where he was kind of slowing down a lot of the immigration. Now that actually helped inadvertently, indirectly, which is cool with us. But Biden, on the other hand, not only did Biden throw these crime bills at us, all of these other policies directly undermined us that Biden put together. So we have to understand how to play this game without emotions. Let's take the emotions out of it. We got to be strategic. See, with us, the Democrats come around us with all that. The first thing they want to do when they start playing music and dancing, when they come around black folks, they showing up in churches singing. They showing up to the HBCUs doing all that shucking and jiving and dancing, and everybody doing the damn electric slide. Let's stop dancing and let's sit down and say, okay, what can you do for me? When they come around black folks, it's plantation jubilee time. They got the catfish nuggets and black eyed peas, and come on, vote for some cornbread. It's plantation time. We got to grow up out of that. We got to be more politically sophisticated. We got to stop playing games. Let's get some more people in here. Let's get emancipated minds. Let's get emancipated minds in here. All right. Emancipated minds. Hop on in, bro. And it's a lot of people in here tonight.
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Hey, what's up? I can hear you, sir. How are you, brother?
All right. I just wanted to say, I agree with you totally on everything you say, brother. I don't have much to say because you're saying everything I want to say. So just want to tell you, bro,
There you go.
keep doing what you're doing. We need more brothers out here with the same mindset that you have, and I'm one of them. I'm in Tennessee, and this is one of the most challenging states that I've been in as far as racism. Here,
Yeah.
I've been here since 2011.
Okay, brother. Thank you. All right, you about to. All right, brother. This is not a video dating service. Okay, brother. I don't know where you were going, but shout out to you, brother. I appreciate you, but brother, I don't know where you were going. You're like, yes, I'm in Tennessee. I'm 6'2". I'm a Capricorn, and I like long walks, and I like to go fishing. And brother, this is not J date, brother. This is not Christian mingle. This is not black bussy meat. I don't know where you were going with it, brother. Don't know where you were going with it, brother. But much respect to you, sir. Much respect to you. All right, let's try some other people here. And I want y'all to have your thoughts together. I don't want people to call up just kind of rambling around here. Let's get Shake Anarchist. Shake Anarchist. All right, let's get Shake Anarchist in here. All right, let's see what's on his mind. All right, where you at, bro? All right, when I bring you in, be ready to have your microphone on because I do not want to have to wait for you to turn your mic on. So let's get Bicasa in here. Let me get you. Bicasa.
Hey, I just want to say shout out to Tariq for putting up this forum. Really dope. Y'all need to read. They came before Columbus and it will answer a lot of questions that y'all got for real. Shout out to Tariq.
Yes, and thank you so much,
Yeah, no
beloved.
doubt.
All right. And that is Bicasa. And she is a very cute stud. She's a stud and she's very cute. Yeah, sister. If you want to come back on the other side, I know some good brothers I can hook you up with. Okay. Because you still got some hope. You're not full stud, to the point where you can't come back. All you need is a little rouge and some lip liner. You can come right on back. Yeah. Okay. So if you're ready, we can still bring you back if you want to come on back. Let's see who else we got on here. Let me see. Let's get some more folks in here. All right. A lot of folks in here. Let's see. Let's get Taylor Drake. We get Taylor Drake in here. Then we'll get all right. I'm gonna get some new faces because a lot of these faces are familiar. We get Ardo Gamel. We'll get that person in next, and then we'll get Shaba 26. All right. All right. Let's give it a try. Okay. All right. Let's Taylor. Let's get Taylor.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Taylor?
I just want to ask you a question about probably the most interesting thing that I find about white supremacists, which is their ability to scam and rip each other off. You know, a good example is Ice Poseidon. He just pulled an NFT scam on his own fans and got like 500,000. Why
Okay.
do white supremacists like to do that?
Well, system, thank you for the call. A lot of white supremacists do a lot of stuff, man. A lot of them do a lot of stuff. So, you know, certain people do certain things. All right, um let's get Muslim.
Hey, what's up, Tariq? Peace.
What's
You
up?
can hear me?
What's up? I can hear you, sir. Where you located?
I'm in Brooklyn.
There you go. What's on your mind, sir?
All right, I just wanna I love what you're doing with the FBA thing, and I'm second generation Muslim. You know, my family came from the nation
Okay.
under Elijah Muhammad, and just to give some historical background, his son Wallace Muhammad brought the nation under Orthodox Islam. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So a lot of what you're tackling as far with foreigners, you know, we as Black Americans, we put Islam on the map here in America. And when a lot of immigrants came here, they were coming to our mosques. And a lot of stuff that's coming out, I've dealt with it all our life because none of these people really accepted us as Muslims. And, you know, as far as people from the Middle East, they
Right.
can't.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, brother. Your phone. There was some stuff going on with your phone, brother. I got to get you back on the whatever's going on with your phone. There was some crunching going on, so I get you back in a minute. Let's get B on, and shout out to my brother who called up. I got you were saying something very interesting, but it was just the sound that was killing me. B, you want to get on B? Billionaire Brea. Okay, she popped off. Okay, okay, Billionaire Brea. Billionaire Brea wasn't ready, and let's get Judge Sarah. Judge Sarah, because I see you on a lot, and you say that I don't ever put you on. And I'm putting you on, Judge. I think that's your name, Judge Sarah. I'm putting you on, Judge
I'm
Sarah.
the 20th, Tariq. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you,
Well,
dear?
first I want to say thank you for loving Black people.
Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes, ma'am.
just came in contact with you, well, maybe in the past 6 months, and I watch your YouTube videos, and you are so educational and hilarious at the same time. Again, I'm the 20th, and my purpose, Tariq, is to liberate Black people. What we need is additional protection under the law, under the 14th Amendment. What I'm trying to do is to have Black people deemed a protective class. America has broken its promise to Black people under the 14th Amendment. We are not created equal. We haven't been equal since they when's the Civil Rights Act? I think it was 1868? Because I know you're a history buff. You know a lot about a lot of things.
1968.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No, well, no, I'm talking about the original 14th Amendment to the
Oh,
Constitution
okay.
when they freed the slaves. This Civil Rights Act, the one you're talking about in 67, every marginalized group has benefited except for Black people. Again, Black people
Right.
in this room, we are not equal. We are American citizens and we're supposed to be equal. It is my purpose to deem us a protective class because we need protection. I document how we're not protected on a YouTube series called Reignite Sandy Speaks. To give you an example, Dante Wright, his murderer, got 2 years, while the Somalian officer who accidentally shot a white lady got 12 years. We need additional protection and we need to be classified as a protective class. Like, you know how they do endangered species and they have specific rules and regulations for them? Black people need that protection. And Tariq, I'm hoping you can help me bring awareness to that.
We will, dear. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let's get the boomer. Let's get the boomer in here. The boomer, hop on, sir.
Hey, what's going on, Tariq, man? I just want to encourage you to say, keep doing your thing. And
Yes, sir.
in this good fight, man, us as a people, we need to invest in crypto, man, because the rest of the world, they invest in our money, and I want to make sure we all put our money in the right place. That's all I want to say. But keep doing your thing, and I support you 100.
No doubt, man. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Let's get Azar. Let's get Azar in here. Azar. Let's get Azar in here. Azar. Hop on, Azar. Hey, I can hear you, sir. How are you, buddy?
I'm very fine. I'm very fine, sir. I'm calling from England. I listen to you a lot.
Yeah.
You're a very good
Mm-hmm.
you're a very good speaker. I just want to
Yeah.
ask you, what's the current status on your ban?
Well, we still do our thing. You know, we still, do our thing as a hobby. You know, we mix fly. Whenever we get some free time, we go in the studio and rock out. So,
No, sir.
we still do.
No. I'm talking about your current ban on the UK. What's the status on that ban?
Oh, that band. I'm thinking of a music band. Okay, you got to be very specific when you say band. I'm thinking about music. Yeah, I think I'm still banned from going over there. I think I haven't checked in a while, but I think I'm still banned. And the home office is very difficult to get in touch with them about it. They gave me the runaround last time I tried to call them to find out what was going on because when I travel overseas, I can't stop in Britain. I have to go all around. I got to stop in Italy and France, and I got to run all around. So I don't know. I don't know. They still won't let me over there. So it is what it is. Yeah, for those who don't know, I am banned. I've been banned from going to the UK for a long time. They have banned me. I'm one of the few Black Americans that's actually banned, and I'm banned, and I'm the only person that's banned, and not because of a criminal background or criminal case, or because of some kind of radical organization. So they banned me because I challenge white supremacy. And I think they're afraid that I will radicalize the black people there because I have a real big audience in the UK. And they were like, oh, no, we're not going to let you come over here and tell these folks about white supremacy. So they were like, your ass just can't come over here at all. They're like, no, we ain't going to have you censored. You just better not ever come back over here. So, yeah. But I got a lot of love for the UK. A lot of love for the UK. All right. Let's see who else we got here. Raise your hand if you want to get on. I'll take a couple of more because, again, I'm not going to do another 4-hour joint like I've been doing. All right, let's get Pablo in here. I see you, Pablo. Let's get Pablo in here. All right, I see my sister Aki down there. What's up, Aki? Aki's in the new movie we're doing. Aki, my sister was phenomenal in the new movie. Aki was phenomenal. This is her first time doing something like this. Phenomenal. All right, Pablo, what's up, brother? Turn your microphone on, Pablo. If you can turn that microphone on, Pablo, that would be great. Oh, Pablo got out of here. Oh, Pablo got out of here real quick, like he had an empanada burning in the microwave. All right, Pablo. All right, we're gonna get somebody else then, Pablo. Raise your hand if you want to get on, and if you don't want to get on, don't raise your hand. All right. What's up, Doss? Let's get Doss on here.
Yo, what up with you? I just got a quick question for you. I had made a post earlier saying if you under 25 and you ain't got nothing going on, you might as well join the military. Had a lot of backlash about it. So what you think about telling young black men to join the military or making decisions like that?
You know what? That's not a bad idea. I won't be against that because with the military, yeah. If you don't got nothing cracking, if you ain't got nothing popping, you're not going to college or whatever, that would be a good option because number one, you'll learn discipline. Number two, you'll get benefits that will, work with you for the rest of your life. So yeah, that's a viable option. I wouldn't be against that. And plus, you'll learn military strategy too, which is an advantage. Real heavy stuff. All right. And by the way, guys, y'all get my book, Foundational Black American Race Baiter. You can get that book at Amazon, Foundational Black American Race Baiter at Amazon, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let me get one more good caller in here. I want to see some new faces that hasn't been in here before, and I get them on. All right, we got let's get this person here, Crypto Punks. All right, let's get Crypto Punks in here. Crypto Punks. What's going on with you? Waiting on Crypto Punks. You can turn your microphone on. That'll be great.
What's going on, Tariq? This is your boy Crypto Punch calling out of Atlanta by way of Alabama.
There you go. What's on your mind, bro?
What's going on, brother? I just wanted to ask a quick question. Can you expand on the role of FBA spiritual systems like hoodoo in its role in our fight to replace this system with justice?
There you go. Good question. Yeah, a lot of folks don't know about hoodoo, and hoodoo was basically a lot of black people who were root people who would get together, different roots and herbs and plants, and kind of make elixirs for ailments and for healing. A lot of the hoodoo people were people who were really doing a lot of healing, and kind of similar to voodoo, but voodoo was more about the religious aspect of tapping into the the spiritual realm and the underworld to a certain degree. And hoodoo is more about healing properties, putting together things that will heal and also bring luck and bring protection, things like that. So it's real heavy stuff. So it kind of all ties in. Let me get one more call. I keep saying one more, and they just keep on going. Okay. Um, let's see. Raise your hand. You want to get on? Raise your hand if you want to get on. If you want to get on, raise your hand. If you want to get on, raise your hand. Let's see who we got. And by the way, y'all can get let me get professional date Uganda. This is like I guess some Ugandan dating site. What is this? Professionals date Uganda. Now, what's this about?
How you doing?
Hey, my brother. So, are you in Uganda or are you here in the States?
States.
Okay. How long you been here in the States?
16 years.
16. Okay. So, what's on your mind?
So my question is, why do you call Africans tethers and anchor babies? These very divisive words. Why do you use that language towards Africans?
I, I do not call Africans tethers. I call the sellout class tethers. The ones who come over here and try to undermine us. Those are the ones I call tethers. The ones who sold out the other Africans back in the motherland, and they come over here with that same mentality. We have to differentiate them just like we differentiate our FBA coons, like the Jesse Lee Petersons and the Clyburns. We call them out. And the coons from the motherland who come over here, we call them out as well. So we refer to them as tethers because they usually try to sneak in among us and blend in and go under the radar. And because none of you are warning us about your Sambo class and the tethers, we have to label them ourselves so that we can't let them undermine us.
Well, but so that is a problem because a lot of these FBA groups that I go into these days, the people in those groups do not delineate, and it is kind of similar to what these white supremacists have been doing, where they label every African American person with a broad swath or a broad brush. And these people are going around now. It started getting to a point where people are threatening violence. under the guise of those words, tethers, and things of that nature. And where I'm seeing it's going, it's becoming so divisive and so toxic. I wish there was a different word. Whether saying that people are sellouts, that is much better, and like specifically targeting those people, but not just saying everybody is a coon. And these people are not smart enough, as you think, to delineate, because they are now threatening to beat up African people.
Okay, nobody's beat nobody up. Okay, and what happens is people get in a couple of these rooms and they start talking crazy to each other, and then they start trying to scream fire. No, nobody's beating up on any African folks, man. Nobody's doing that. But the problem is a lot of the divisiveness has been coming from the um, that side of the fence. A lot of people come over here and they already have these white supremacist views. If you want to talk about white supremacy, they come over here with the same views as the white supremacists because they want to come over here and get in good with the white supremacists. They come over here with all of these derogatory names for foundational black Americans, even after we helped them get here. And they're told in all different African countries, when you go over there to America, stay away from the Akata, stay away from the Jarirs, stay away from the Abids, and all of these crazy terms, and find you some white people. That's the second part that people don't talk about. It's always stay away from the FBAs, but when you find some white people, boy, love on them like it's no tomorrow. So that's a major problem. And we as foundational black Americans, we don't want to be undermined by foreigners because you guys don't let us go over there and do none of that stuff. So why should we allow foreigners to come do the same thing to us, sir?
I agree. Nobody should be undermined. But what I'm saying at the end of the day is that this rhetoric is sounding like people want to bully others, because African Americans are more than Africans in the United States. And what I'm hearing is that they want to suppress and bully others. And there was a while back, some FBA man was telling, oh, Africans, like, bow down to me and say thank you, type of rhetoric. And this is the point. Like, you guys are more than Africans in the United States. And what you say has like a huge consequence, whether you believe it or not. It has a huge consequence on these people in the streets. And a lot of people do not understand this rhetoric. They just look at it. To you, it might seem like a joke, but to the people that are receiving it, it's emboldening people. Maybe somebody lost a job, or they feel like an African took a job away from them, or they just have this plain feeling that I've been oppressed, so let me do it to somebody else. It might seem like a joke, but on the ground, it doesn't translate that way.
Okay,
It might turn to violence.
okay, but in these rooms, people say anything in these little chat rooms, and you feel what I'm saying? People make a lot of threats. I mean, there's been a lot of people. There's been a bunch of Somalians and Ethiopians talking about whooping my ass. Do you think I'm worried about some Somalian whooping my ass? You understand what I'm saying? I just don't take that seriously. And there's a lot of people just in these rooms trolling and talking. So a lot of it is a lot of rhetoric. But we just have to understand the general mindset that a lot of people have about us, foundational black Americans. So a lot of FBA people are being reactive to a lot of this anti FBA vitriol. Because look, let's be clear. These chat rooms, especially on Clubhouse and all of these other outlets, a lot of these non FBA people, they've been doing this stuff for a long time, getting on these rooms, talking very greasy about us. This is a thing. We just haven't said anything about it. But in the last few weeks, we've been speaking out against it. Really, only in the last few weeks. We don't really talk about immigrants because we don't really care. We got our own issues. But just in the last week or two, the last couple of weeks, ever since that big Secure the Tribe Twitter space that popped off with 30,000 people, now people are kind of responding to the anti-FBA backlash. So now this has shaken up the world. Everybody's like, oh my God, what's going on? So at this point, we are getting some straightening going on. We're having some tough love where everybody's going to either have to get on the same page, everybody's going to have to hold their own nuts. But this whole thing where foundational Black Americans are doing all the heavy lifting while people are disrespecting, that's no longer an option. So I think that's where the vibe is going right now. That makes sense?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But I still I don't agree with the rhetoric though. The rhetoric is just kind of is divisive, and but I hear what you're saying.
Right. But the rhetoric is divisive, especially coming from the people from the diaspora. The rhetoric is extremely divisive, and not only just the rhetoric, their actions. Because again, they come over here. A lot of folks come over here and go out of their way to distance themselves from us. We don't do that. You see, so you can't just point the finger at one side and then ignore and enable the stuff that's going on your home field over there. You dig? So we got to be right and exact. But all right, but nobody's gonna harm you. I don't think nobody's gonna do anything to you, brother. You're gonna be safe. People are just kind of um, yanking your chain on some of these spaces, so you're gonna be good. All right, brother. Thank you so. All right. The people are, a lot of these non-FBAs are just acting scared now. Nobody's gonna do nothing to you. Don't do that. Nobody's gonna do nothing to you. Now, who is this? Feet pick. Okay, who is this person? Invite. All right. Who is this person? It sounds like a dude with feet picked. Okay.
Hey, how you doing, man?
What's going on, man? What's happening with you?
Just listening in. I want to chime into the conversation. Appreciate you having me, bro.
No doubt.
All right. No, I just wanted to ask you, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how like with 10 being the highest, how important reparations is to you on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, that's 10. That's extremely important. Very important.
Okay.
That's a 10. It's important.
Okay, great, and I feel and I knew that would be the answer, and it's a 10 for me as well, bro.
Yeah,
But
no doubt.
and now, if it's a 10 for you, my thing is this. Earlier, you said to somebody that if they were to vote Republican, you really wouldn't argue with them about that or whatnot.
Right.
However, if reparations is a 10 to you, then I'm sure you pretty know it's many Republicans who are not on board with reparations, right?
Right.
We
Hmm.
have like Mitch McConnell on record saying that. We have various representatives who are Republicans who are against it. So it's like any strategy, whether it's don't vote at all or vote Republican, that benefits Republicans, really pushes us further away from the reparation agenda here. So, and I said it because of the fact that we have more Democrats who are in favor of reparations than there are Republicans. So if we're looking for more if you try to find Republicans who are in favor of reparations, then it's like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, but we got time. See, we have time. That's the good thing. And the thing with the Democrats, not only do they not want to give it, we say that there are Democrats who want to. The Democrats don't want to give us reparations. They don't. If they did, they would have done it already. The Democrats want to come up with ways to create or continue the benign neglect policy where they undermine us. And what the Democrats are doing now, and this is the dangerous part, they're trying to figure out a way to give something to everybody and call it reparations. This is the new trick bag they're doing. So they want to do something like, well, we're going to give some housing vouchers and call that reparations, but we keep calling them out. See, that's going to undermine us. See, my thing is, I can deal with the Republicans. You just give me a straight up no. All right, cool. I'm gonna put some stuff together to get a hard yes. You give me a hard no. Let's put some stuff together and some policies and some strategies together to get a hard yes. I don't want a fake yes from the Democrats. A fake yes is worse than a hard no. So the Democrats would do something like, well, we're going to give y'all reparations, crack pipes. That's your reparations. They're so deceitful and contemptuous to foundational Black Americans. They're doing stuff like that already. They are doing stuff showing utter contempt for foundational Black Americans. And they want to undermine us the same way they did with affirmative action. Affirmative action was supposed to be something for foundational Black Americans. Then they said, hey, you know what? Instead of just giving it to Black people, let's give it to minorities because Black people aren't the only people who's hurt. And who's a minority? White gay people, white Hispanics, Asians, white women, and everybody got a piece of it, and ultimately that undermined us. And when we said, hey, we need something, they can say, well, man, come on, we just gave you affirmative action. What else do you Negroes want? They're going to do the same thing with reparations if we let the Democrats play this game with us. They're going to let everybody get a piece of it, say that it's going to be for everybody who was aggrieved. And when we say, hey, damn, we need something, they'll say, well, hey, man, we gave y'all y'all begged for reparations. We gave it to you. So what more do you want? I mean, well, damn it, you just keep complaining. So the Democrats are the worst right now. Us pulling out of the process altogether would be the most strategic thing. We got time. We don't just grab a whack bag that's already flawed. If we're going to get something, let's take our time and make sure we get it the right way. And the Democrats, they can crash and burn to hell for all I care right now because they are the worst. And we have time, so we're not in a rush. You feel me?
But you know, it was the Republicans that kicked it off when they promised us the 40 acres and a mule, and then they took it back. They kicked
Uh-huh.
the shit off, though.
Uh-huh. And the Democrats were right along with them. Again, they shift parties, man. Let's be very clear. The Republicans and Democrats, those are just little empty titles. These people will switch hats. The Confederate flag, as we know it, that's something that the so-called Democratic Party created. The Dixiecrats, they were running around with Confederate flags. And now who's running around with Confederate flags? The Republicans. Who's protecting these Confederate monuments? The Republicans. Unite the right. That's what they were doing. It was the right that was out there in Charlottesville protecting Confederate monuments that were initially Dixiecrat monuments. You understand? So it's birds of the same feather, man. So we shouldn't get caught up in that. I don't care what
Which is
party.
two more reasons to not vote Republican. You know what I'm saying? So
How?
it's like
What? How? Because what's the difference between a Republican and a Democrat? They switch parties, man. They're one and the same. They're one and the same, brother.
all I know is that right now, this is the furthest that the reparation bill has gotten after it been not being looked into for so long. This is the furthest that's gotten. 23 Democrats voted for it, and guess how many Republicans did? A big fat zero. Any
Oh,
strategy,
are
any strategy
you talking
that
about
benefits
HR
them
40?
is not going to help us.
Sir, you talking about HR 40?
Yeah, yeah, I'm referring to the HR 40. Yes,
HR 40 is a nothing burger. That's not no reparation. That's to study. That's
I
something
know.
it's a nothing burger. That is nothing, nothing, nothing.
I'm aware of that, but what it is that once we get past that, the
Mm,
study, and
no,
then the necessary modifications can be made if we
no,
get behind
that's
the candidates who are in support of it,
plebiscite,
such as Cory Booker.
plebiscite. Corey, I know you didn't say Cory Booker. Really, did you just say Cory Booker's name, brother?
Cory Booker, Sheila Lee, the people who are behind the reparations, we should get behind. We should get more people who are in support of that. Because if we try to find, Republican candidates for that, it's going to be like looking for a needle in a haystack,
It's
and we
already,
know that.
brother, Corey Bussey and Sheila Jackson Lee, they're just stalling. The HR 40 is a big stalling tactic, man. It's a nothing burger. Let's say they pass it tomorrow. Then what? All they're going to do is have another commission to study. There's nothing tangible in that thing. It's a stalling tactic, sir. Stalling is a deflection. They don't have to stall. They can get this stuff done overnight, man. Afghanistan refugees didn't get a study. These are non-citizens. They didn't have all this plebiscite talk, sir. They got money. They ain't even citizens. Asians, with that Stop Asian Hate, they start writing executive orders giving tangibles to these people. Latinos, some of their children who were separated at the border, wasn't no study. They got tangibles for these people. Man, white LGBT people, they're talking about giving reparations in tangible forms to white LGBT people who were discriminated against. No study. None of this. We got to study for 15 years and do a plebiscite and do all of this bickering back. Man, please, they can get this stuff going on right now. All of this stuff is a stalling tactic, man, to keep us on the Democratic treadmill while we support everybody else and not get nothing for ourselves. We ain't on the treadmill no more, bro. Bro, it's over. It's done. We're off. Either they're going to have to cough up some bread right now, or we'll let that shit crash and burn. That's why they're trying to cobble together some new Democratic base that they don't have, because we have been the base of the Democratic Party. We've been floating the Democratic Party for the last 50 years. They do not have another base. So I say we should let them crash and burn, sir, if they don't give us tangibles right now in the form of money, like they've been doing everybody else. No study, no plebiscite, nothing. Money right now. All right?
So what you're telling me is that it just ain't gonna happen.
Hey, we have
From
time.
a white supremacist system, we asking for reparations. You telling me that it's not gonna happen?
If it's not going to happen, we're not going to support that system. And that would be good too. If the system is not going to give us what we want, why should we support the system? Because dropping out of that system and not supporting it, that's another great option as well. Right?
I don't think so. I just think it's a strategy that helped a party that
Why
is like in
support
nowhere going to try to vote for reparations at all.
sir, dropping out of that system and not participating would be the best strategy. Because if a system is not legitimate and is not helping you, why support it to legitimize it? That's the problem. We when we support systems that are illegitimate, we strengthen it. We should not support a system that doesn't work for us, because when you stop supporting a system that is illegitimate, you will come up with other ways to empower yourself. Because we sit here waiting on this illegitimate system to do things for us, we're going to always lose. Either they're going to have to crap or get off the pot. If they're not going to crap, we'll get off the pot. That's the most logical thing to do. I'm all about logic. This is not emotion with me. Black people should neglect that system because we're better off just creating our own codified system among ourselves, empowering ourselves without this illegitimate system hanging over our heads that's not doing anything for us. We have to stop supporting systems like that. That
Okay,
makes
bro.
all right. Thank you so much for the call. Well. See, we got to be very logical about this. No emotions, no emotions, family. We cannot support illegitimate systems. The Democratic Party and the voting system altogether is illegitimate. It's an illegitimate system right now. And see, it's illegitimate and it's oppressive. And the thing is, we're to blame for it to a certain degree because we sit here supporting it. If you sit there and support an oppressive system, that makes you compliant in your own oppression. Let's go back to the story of the Seminoles, the Black Seminoles, and we're doing a documentary about them. The Black Seminoles decided we're not going to support the slave system. We're not going to, us going into slavery, that's not going to work. If we go into slavery, we're supporting that system. We're supporting our own oppression. So we have to get out of that system and be a self governing people. Even if we have to live in the swamps, we have to be self governing. And that's exactly what they did. We cannot support a system of slavery. And they fought that system and they got their freedom. They maintained their freedom because they refused to participate in that system. We will self govern. We'll live out here in the woods, we'll live in the swamp. We know how to build our own homes. But us participating in that system, dealing with these white supremacists like that, that's not an option because that system doesn't work for us. We have to look at the voting system the same way. You don't have to vote. Don't let people con you into voting. You do not have to vote. You do not have to participate in a system that is not only not working for you, a system that's against you. Biden, black people, all the Biden sexuals, you should be ashamed because we told you all about voting for Biden and how dangerous it is. Biden and Kamala and his administration, the Democrats, man, I've warned people how hostile they're going to be. Because when you deal with the Republican, with Trump, the Trump thing didn't bother me because Trump, again, Trump didn't put any policies that harm black people together. And plus, with Trump in office, we just have to worry about the white supremacists. Excuse me. We only have to worry about dealing with white supremacists. That's fine. We can deal with them. With Biden, not only do we have to deal with the same white supremacists, we now have to deal with all of these other hostile, non white buffer groups. So now we have to deal with hostile anti black Asians, as we saw in this recent case with that Asian judge who let that white woman get a slap on the wrist for killing a black kid. We got to deal with hostile Asians. We got to deal with hostile Hispanics. We got to deal with hostile Middle Easterners. We got to deal with the anti black people in the white LGBT movement, the Ed Bucks of the world, because they've been empowered over us by the Democrats and they've been resourced and financed with our tax dollars. And then we got to deal the sad part, we got to deal with anti-FBA immigrants coming in from the African and Caribbean diaspora who are hostile towards foundational black Americans. That's the killing part. So we got to deal with 5 or 6 other hostile groups that the Democrats have funded and elevated. You see? This is where we are now. This is why we're at such a disadvantage. We got to be strategic and not emotional, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot be emotional about this. And we can't let them sit here and play the Republicans are the real racists. So don't vote for them because they're the real racists. The Democrats are just as racist, man. Just as racist and more dangerous. All right, but let me get out of here. I'll be on here with you guys all night. I'll be on here with you guys all night. Should I get one more call before I go, guys? Should I get one more call? If I get, give me a peace sign if y'all think I should get one more call. And I'm trending again. I usually start trending when I go live, so I'm trending on Twitter. And we got a lot of people in here. What's up, Dre?
Hi, I'm kind of nervous, first time speaking, but I just wanted to say that I've always been a Democrat, and it's so hard for me not to vote. And now, but I finally realized these people have been just starving us and using our shoulders to lift everybody else up, and we're never going to get anything. So I don't have
Yeah.
much to say, but I finally get it. I agree with you 100%. That's all.
Yes,
Bye.
man. Thank you so much, beloved. Thank you so much. Yeah, man. People are getting it, man. I mean, shit. It's right there, man. The writing is on the wall. Dude, the writing is on the wall, man. Look at how we doing. And we supporting the Democrats, and man, we got all these homeless black people out here, and these people will tell us in our faces that they ain't gonna do nothing for us. What the hell are we supporting them for? What in the hell are we supporting these people for, man? Come on, let's just use common sense. Why are we supporting these people? What's up? We got owner. Turn your mic on. Owner, turn your microphone on. I think that's your name, owner or oneer, owner. I can't pronounce your name, man. All right, owner Seacrest. Okay, this is a. Oh, okay, it's a dude. Okay, okay, he's using his Finster account. You ain't got no followers, and I thought you were a woman, but you a dude. Okay, all right, brother. You got something to say? Cause I'm about to get you. You look funny, style, bro. Owner, you want to say something before I get you up out of here? Cause I ain't really trying to talk to no dude with no individual braids that's combed to the side, like goddamn Jody Watley or something. All right, let me get you out of here. I don't want to talk to you, brother. Cause you look funny, style. All right, let's try somebody else. One last person. Yeah, nigga was looking real weird on his profile picture. Nigga, he had his hair in a bun and shit. All right, let's get Queen. Uh, okay. Let's get Queen something. Queen Aurello, something like that. Hello, Queen. How are you?
I'm good. When it comes to like reparation, let's say the FBA do get it by like tomorrow. What do you think? How they split it, or how they use it to their advantage?
Um, doesn't matter. They can use it however they want to use it. Why is that a an issue? They can use it however they want to use it.
In what ways is it going to be beneficial though?
It could be beneficial however they want it to be beneficial, ma'am. If they want to go smoke crack with it, let them go smoke crack. That would be their prerogative. Why do people have to explain what benefit it's going to make?
Why,
Because
why do you,
when money is given, ma'am, when money is given to Native American tribes, they don't ask them what they're doing with the money. Give them the money. You need the money because they need it. They can do whatever they want to do with it. So why is that even a question?
I mean, it's very important. Like depending on how you should use it, if you want through to help the community, why not? Or else don't demand it. I guess.
Well, that's up to us, ma'am. But that's however we want to use it. That's up to foundational Black Americans. And as an outsider, how we as foundational Black Americans spend our money, how is that a concern to you, a non-FBA person, ma'am?
You're asking for it, you want it, you want the reparation. So in what ways are you gonna help help yourself with it?
Any way we want to. But as a non-FBA who's not even a citizen, how is that your concern?
I'm just saying, because most of you do demand it, so I'm just saying, I'm just wondering in what
Right.
sense.
That's just a very strange question coming from a non-FBA person who comes from an immigrant background, man. Are you even in the United States, man?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, how do you spend the money that you got when you got over here, the tax dollars that we use to fund you? How did you spend the money?
Well, be specific. What do you mean?
Okay, meaning when you came over here, it was tax dollars from foundational Black Americans and other people that help you.
Well, I spend it through my life reasons, my livestock, my everything, college, school, everything. How would you think that will be beneficial by demanding reparation?
Same way. Black foundational Black Americans can spend that money on college, school, all that other stuff. Same
Okay,
thing.
but you said if they want to spend it on crack, like
Yeah,
how is that?
yes, that means they can do whatever they want to do with the money.
It should
So
be
if they
limited
so
then.
if they want to spend it on college, let them spend it on college. If they want to go smoke crack, they can smoke crack with the money, ma'am. They can do whatever they want to do with it, right?
But do you think like some people do deserve it while others making
If
crack?
you are a foundational Black American who descended from slavery, you deserve it, no matter what. But if
Mm.
you're not a foundational Black American, no, you shouldn't get it, right?
We're all black at the end of the day, right?
No, when it comes to reparations, we're talking about a lineage. Do you let me ask you this: as a person who's an immigrant, do you think you're entitled to reparations?
I don't think anyone is entitled to reparation
Why wouldn't they be?
because it's not like slavery is over.
But the legacy of slavery isn't over, and the wealth generated from slavery is not over. The wealth is still here, and you're benefiting from that too, by the way.
There's like more inner issues than demanding reparation.
No, it ain't.
Really.
Really, no, it's not. Reparations is the number one issue for foundational Black Americans. That's the number one. It's been an issue for a long time, and we're putting it on the forefront, and we're prioritizing that right now. We prioritize too many other things. The 40 acres and a mule is back on the table, ma'am.
How about the social ill within the inner cities?
The what?
The social ill within inner cities.
Well, reparations can help that, ma'am.
It can help benefit you, so reparations should be
Right.
effective then.
No, reparations should be given to foundational Black Americans. Now, how long have you been here in the United States, ma'am?
Over 15 years.
14, 15. So you're from either Somalia or Ethiopia. Which one?
Doesn't matter.
Why are y'all so ashamed of your homeland, ma'am? I really wish y'all would have more pride in your homeland. You don't have to be ashamed of your homeland, ma'am.
But why
And
is that
if
concern?
you're, ma'am, because you're concerned about our reparations claim, but you're too ashamed to even admit from where you're from.
Well, like I wouldn't, if a person is using it for crack and other unnecessary needs, of course I would be concerned.
But, ma'am, you're too ashamed to. Your homeland is so jacked up, you are too ashamed to even admit where it's from. And it's clearly over there in Somalia, Ethiopia. I can tell by your accent, man.
That's a homeland now. We're coming for the motherland, huh?
Coming for the, ma'am, you ain't even coming from the motherland. You're coming from the motherland. You're not
I,
coming for it. You're coming
I
from
am
it, man.
of course I'm from it and proud of it.
No, you're not. You're not even proud enough to admit where you're from, ma'am.
No, 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 no. If I admit it, you're gonna just trash it like you always do.
No, I'm
Simple.
no,
Yes, you
ma'am,
will. Come on. That's
ma'am,
how you roll.
ma'am. Like you're trying to trash us, and you're clearly from Somalia,
I
by
didn't
the way.
trash. I did
From
not trash.
yeah,
I,
ma'am. What'd you say, ma'am?
mm, I did not trash at all.
You did not. Yeah, yeah, you are. You're kind of talking a little disparaging about foundational Black Americans, talking about we don't deserve reparations.
I didn't say you don't deserve it. I just said it should be limited to those who do need it, and
But,
not because
but,
you're a descendant of slave doesn't mean you all need it.
ma'am, you're not at liberty to talk about what we need. You're not a foundational Black American, ma'am. You're being disrespectful by even speaking on our reparations claim, ma'am. This is none of your concern, right?
But you're all about like helping, benefiting the community, right?
But
I'm
this is
assuming.
not about this is not your concern, ma'am. And this is the
I'm just
problem.
here listening. I'm just here listening.
You're coming over speaking against our reparations, ma'am. Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Why
ma'am,
not?
you should have fixed home. You should have really got your home together. We're not speaking about the degradation happening in your homeland. We're not speaking on that. We wish you well. But the fact that you would come over here after you failed in your homeland and try to tell us to do something that's going to fail, that
Sir,
that's
sir,
not good business, ma'am. Ma'am,
my whole benefit here is for the homeland.
um, ma'am, y'all always say that.
Hmm.
Y'all
Hmm.
that.
It is
So
true.
you want to get the resources from our tax dollars and send them back to your failed homeland. And you have the nerve to talk about what we're going to do with our money. You don't want us to get reparations because you want some of that money so you can.
My mentality is going for a good cause
What's that good cause, ma'am?
for the motherland, of course, to go back home.
But, ma'am, you fled. You fled the motherland, and you're not helping,
Migrated.
ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, you're not helping your motherland. Y'all come over here and y'all don't look back.
Pretty much, I do.
Not really.
Yes.
And you come over here speaking against foundational Black Americans, and then you wonder why we
Well,
have.
by thriving here, it'll be beneficial back home. But by giving a crackhead a reparation, how's that going to help you?
Well, ma'am, if a crackhead wanted to spend some money on crack, that's their prerogative. Just like a lot of y'all Somalians, some of the people from your homeland, especially if they're in Minnesota, there's a lot of crackheads and Somalian gangs and Somalian scam artists. So they get our tax dollars and they do janky things with it. And we don't complain because we understand that's part of the game. There's so many criminal gangs from your homeland up here committing crimes.
You're not helping them in any ways.
But yeah,
They're the one who dig their holes, and they
yeah,
stay there.
but
They stay there.
but but they usually pull scams on us. Unfortunately, a lot of their scams undermine us. Unfortunately, and not only that, when they do these crimes, they don't get listed as Somalians. They get listed as black, and then those crime stats get listed under the banner of black, and then we get lumped in with that, and then we get the stigma. So that's another bad thing. So
No.
yeah, really, y'all
No.
really got to clear that up because y'all come over here and do these crimes, and then we get the stigma of your crimes.
Pretty sure the stigma was already there.
No, the stigma came usually when a lot of these immigrant groups come around us and start doing these crimes. And when you look
Pretty
at
sure.
any of the crime stats, it's in cities that has a lot of immigrants.
So you're saying the immigrants are more of the majority in prison,
Not,
disproportionate rates.
I'm not saying that. Not saying that because as black people, more things are illegal when you're black. But when we see a lot of crimes going on in major cities, especially New York, almost all the in New York, these are immigrants doing that. These are not FBA people. You
Okay,
understand?
black on black crimes is mostly immigrants, huh?
A lot of it is, ma'am. A lot of it is, or a lot of immigrants doing crimes against FBA or scamming.
Mm.
Understand?
Okay, so most of the crimes are coming from us, apparently.
I didn't say that, man, but a lot of them are. And we have to eat your garbage to a certain degree. But if you guys did something positive, then all of a sudden you're Ethiopian American or you're Somali American. If you do something constructive, you make sure to distance yourself from the other black people. But when you guys commit crimes and scams, then all of a sudden it gets thrown on black people. So we have to take a lot of negative garbage from the culture. And
We distance ourselves with any heathens, any like person that may cause any bad image to us, as well as the ones you're talking about, the ones from within my community. Apparently, that's what you said.
and
We
there's
do a lot, we don't
telling
give them inspiration.
and there's a drug called cat over there. My people are telling you, what's that drug cat that's used over there in Somalia? KHAT,
Yeah.
cat. What is that? A lot of them are addicted to a drug called cat.
Crack, you mean?
No, not. It's called cot.
Never heard of it.
You never heard of KHAT?
Is that like a dress or something? Some kind of a clothing?
It's a drug over there in Somalia, Ethiopia. If
I don't know. I don't think there's
a
no
drug,
drugs. There's no drugs that's very lethal. It's like crack.
okay,
I don't think
oh, Google it, and if you Google it, it's very big over there. I want everybody to the drug KHAT. All right,
is it
pronounce
lethal? Is it poisonous or something?
it's pronounced cat. It's a drug over there from your culture that a lot of young people are addicted to in your culture, ma'am. And if you
Or is it
Google it,
something like
everybody, and I think you know what I'm talking about, ma'am. It's called cat, KHAT. Google that term. It's a
a
heavy.
house?
So you saying you don't know about that cat that everybody addicted to over there? The young folks,
I,
the
I
Ethiopian. They
don't
pronounce.
know.
Sweetie, are you there? Oh, she got out of here. Okay. Oh, she bounced. Okay, I didn't get her out of here. She okay. Uh-oh. Oh, she bounced. Okay. She got the hell out of here. Okay. Oh, so she started sitting up here talking about how they distance themselves from heathens and drug addicts, and they over there strung out on cat. There's a drug called cat over there that they're strung out. Shout out to my dude Michael. Shout out to Michael Camille. Because I got partners over there. My partner is over there, so he's letting me know the real deal. I got a partner over there. He's letting me know the real deal. She got the hell out of here. Did y'all see that? She tried to play dumb. She know what I was talking about. She got her ass up out of here. Y'all can Google right now. That drug that they own over there, heavy. The young folks over there on this drug, heavy as hell. You watch these people who come in these rooms trying to wag their finger. Watch these people who come in the room trying to wag their fingers at us, talking crazy, talking about what we shouldn't get, talking about our reparations, we don't deserve it, and all that nonsense. Man, watch these folks. Check that nonsense. All right, let's get Sinosaur. I think that's your name, Sinosaur.
Right
Yeah.
there.
hmm
To
Yeah.
get all these funds, and that's why her ass ran, because her people strung out on that shit.
Man, they think they slick, don't
Yeah,
they?
she tried to attack all the drugs. That's why she's so precision or precise with it about the damn. Oh, you just gonna give it to crackheads? No, we gonna make sure y'all cat dealers get a little of this catnip as well. What type of shit do they be on, man? It's
Yeah.
I'm gonna get out of here, but they be on the most silliest shit ever.
Real talk, man. Much respect to you, bro. Okay. All right, Joe, let me get out of here, man. It's been real. We had a great chat tonight, man. Good talk tonight, man. Shout out to everybody who's in the room. Go get my book, Foundational Black American Race Beta, available right now on Amazon, ladies and gentlemen. Get that book, and y'all have a great night. I'm a holla. Peace.
Racism is the most powerful system on the planet, yet it is often perceived as the most taboo subject to discuss. World-renowned activist and best-selling author Tariq Nasheed takes on this challenge head-on in his new book, Foundational Black American Race Beta. This is the most important book you will need in order to understand the mechanisms of systemic racism and how to counter this system. Get Foundational Black American Race Beta now at Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. Also get limited autographed collector's editions of the book at officialfba.com.